Attorney General Todd Rokita calling the decision one of common sense. Training camp starts today for the Indiana Pacers. They open their preseason next week against the Atlanta Hawks. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Bear.
Yeah, current looking at westbound 465 on the north side. Stop and go traffic after 31 past Michigan Road. Inbound 70 slows after Emerson Avenue through the Northfoot to Meridian Penn. And inbound 69 crash clear after 82nd Street. Still a little bit slow back to 96. Crash northwest side Lafayette Road at Traders Lane. Traffic sponsored by Mecum Auctions. Mecum Auctions returns to the Indiana State Fairgrounds October 3rd to the 5th with 1,000 muscle cars, classics, Corvettes, trucks, and more. Register to bid and buy spectator tickets at mecum.com. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
Psst. Can you hear me? So can your customers. Get your message heard. Text business to 71007 now. Get results with Radio 1.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated. And you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. We find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Dense fog this morning, otherwise mostly cloudy. A spotty afternoon shower. Today's high 80. Gradual clearing tonight. Sharply colder as well. Low down to 47. On Wish TV, Storm Track 8's Marcus Bailey, 93 WIBC.
A clear radar, just some thick cloud cover. 64 on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Tuesday, October 1st, 6 minutes after 9 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. 35 days away until the election. Make every moment count. Coming up, we're going to get you updated on what's going on with Hurricane Helene and the reconstruction and recovery efforts down there. Of course, Donald Trump was in Valdosta yesterday, and we've got some new information coming out from the White House, something that Joe Biden said that will absolutely shock you.
Oh, sorry. Wait.
What?
At this point, there's anything he could say that would shock me?
It shocked me. I couldn't believe he actually said it out loud. It was one of those moments like, you got to be kidding me.
I mean, he got asked about a military strike the other day and launched into something about the longshoremen strike. I mean, it's like worse than that. Is it worse than that?
Gee, let's just play it now and get it out of the way. Okay, this is Joe Biden, and he's in the Oval Office. Believe it or not, he wasn't on a beach. He was in the Oval Office, and they're talking about Hurricane Helene and what's going on with FEMA, and this is what he said.
We have rivers that are still rising. The danger is still occurring for a lot of people.
And by the way, as the FEMA can tell you, they had pre-positioned an awful lot of material throughout that area, from the Bend all the way up into Tennessee. And so the idea that we weren't prepared, the question is, no one knew exactly how devastating it would be. We knew it would be significant, and we've got a lot already in place, but there's more. But here's the point. I'm going to be asking the American people to continue to help fund the needs of these people. It's not going to be one hit and it's over. It's going to take a hell of a long time. It's going to cost a hell of a lot of money. But this is the United States of America, and we've got to do it.
There it was. He just said he's going to ask the American people to fund the recovery efforts.
Now, is this like...
Of course we are.
Right. Who else would do it? But the question I would have on this is, okay, number one, is he saying like, hey, we're going to set up some charities and, you know, maybe you could give freely? I don't think like that's what he meant. My question is, where does all the money come from? Right? Like where?
You and me.
Well, yeah, but
Kevin.
We don't have any money left.
Well, we're sending it elsewhere, aren't we?
Right. I saw some guy, I don't know who did this on the internet, but they changed the map of the United States, and every state was labeled, and instead of North Carolina, it said Ukraine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hoping that they can get some money.
I mean, it's really not all that far off. Look, it is a mass devastation. Ron DeSantis weighed in on this yesterday, and he was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
well, he's used to hurricane cleanup.
Well, but he just sounds like a competent human being.
Yeah.
I mean, it isn't like I'm listening because Tony was playing some of the stuff, or the news was playing some of the stuff coming in. And I'm listening to Ron DeSantis, and I'm like, the whole time he's talking about this, because he's talking about, hey, we're fine, we're sending our National Guard, and we're helping out others, and whatever. And he's giving this very he sounds presidential. And I'm listening to this going, the whole time Ron DeSantis is talking, I'm not remotely worried about any words he's about to say, and I know he's going to sound like a guy who's completely in control of the situation. And then there's Biden.
Mm-hmm.
And does he even know what day it is? There's no way Joe Biden is even remotely involved in being in charge. There's no way Joe Biden is remotely involved of being in charge of this recovery effort or cleanup effort or stabilization effort. There's no even way he can even stay awake long enough to process being in charge of this.
Well, of course, when the hurricane came, he was on the beach, and then you had Kamala Harris doing a photo op down by the border, and now she has released that stage photo where she looks like she's on her phone, but the headphones aren't plugged into her phone. She's taking notes on a blank piece of paper. Everything about this administration is just fake and staged, and you've got to be kidding me that they're asking the American people to fund recovery efforts, which of course we're going to do. Meanwhile, they're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine and Taiwan and everywhere else. And those people in North Carolina and Tennessee, they're hurting right now.
Well, it is the broader question, right? When you talk about American exceptionalism and America first, which are sort of the tenets of the Trump campaign and the Trump policy, this is the sort of thing we're talking about, where it is to ensure that our people are taken care of before we worry about the rest of the world. And it does not seem that we do that. Look at East Palestine. Look at what went on there. We were just talking the other day.
Mm-hmm. Has Biden been there yet?
Joe Biden, I don't believe Joe Biden ever went there. Do you have any confidence in a government run by the Biden administration that it's going to be efficient? Do you have any confidence, period, no matter who's running the government? Certainly this government. It's going to be efficient. It's going to be effective. And that's why I was just listening to that thinking, even when you compare DeSantis to Trump, because Trump was kind of weird yesterday, too. He starts going on this thing about how the governors, or Biden hadn't called the governors. Then it turned out, DeSantis admitted, or didn't admit, he just stated. It wasn't like he was trying to deny, yeah, Biden called. I was on an airplane, whatever. So did he call? These other governors don't know. But it's just like, can't we just have competence? Like when Ron DeSantis speaks, you go, that dude knows what's going on. They're going to get it cleaned up. Florida's going to be fine, and they're going to go help someone else. Hey, next topic. But with everybody else, it's just like, what in the world is going on here?
I did see some video. Of course, Donald Trump was down in Georgia, and I did see him hugging some people who had, been flooded out of their homes, and it really came across as genuine. Now, I know that there's a little bit of politics going on here. It looks good, but it is good. You've got a private citizen, albeit he's running for president, who has gone down there and took with him disaster relief items. And in the meantime, your president is sitting on a beach, and the vice president is making a 20-minute statement from the FEMA office.
Well, and you're right about that staged photo. I mean, they don't even stage well. They don't even fake well. I mean, it's so obvious. Like, those headphones don't go anywhere. It's so obvious. There's nothing on those pieces of paper. I mean, come on. This is where people get really frustrated, because these are things that the government should do. These are things of the limited scope of the government they should be involved in. And we're involved in all of these other things, and our money goes to all of these other places, and we don't. Now, maybe they'll wow us. I'm telling you right now, having been through multiple hurricanes and knowing how FEMA operates. Now, the media will cover it up. They'll claim Biden did a great job. But having been through it, I don't care who the president is. I don't care what party they are. I don't care when it's an accountable administration like Trump was the first time. the federal government is the worst organization possible to have to interact with during any circumstances, certainly during times of crisis or calamity. I've told this story before. So when the hurricanes would hit, they were just like throwing money at people. And I told the story about my friend who was the newspaper writer down there who's like, I don't need money. I don't need a place to stay. I just need some paint. And they would not give him the paint. They made him stay in the hotel. There were these like stop shops where you could just go in and basically like apply to get money. And, we were like working through the process because with disaster relief, et cetera, you don't know how, what you're going to need, how you're going to need it. And so we had with a business, I didn't live there, but a business, they're eligible to apply for things too, et cetera. And for like months, finally we just said, look, the amount of time and effort it's going to take to get the stuff, we can just get in there, we can clean the thing out, we can rip the carpet up. It flooded, it was not unsustainable damage. We'll just do it ourselves. We were getting phone calls for months, them just basically begging to give us money. And we were like, we're not taking that money because who knows what strings are attached with that.
Right.
But like for months, and we just kept telling them like, we have told you people, you couldn't help us in the immediate. We did it ourselves. We're fine. Is there some way by which we can get reimbursed? No, probably not. Well, then stop trying to give me printed money.
Well, and that's what I keep hearing, doing it for themselves, by themselves. That's what I keep hearing that is coming out of that area. It's the locals that are helping one another, and they're not relying on the government. They're 4 or 5 days into this now, and you still hear reports that they're still not being helped by anybody.
No, and that's the thing, and that's what the people down there need to really realize is the time it will take them to even get in there and get stationary. Now, good administrations can provide immediate water, et cetera. But if you're thinking that the federal government's going to swoop in there and help you get reallocated, relocated, rebuilt in a timely fashion, haven't been through it, you are dreaming. All right. Boy, did you like how I got us through a whole segment on that topic?
And you were avoiding the topic we were going to talk about, but it's coming.
It's fine. It's fine.
Coming.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. You so want to talk about Pete Rose.
Well, you got a lot of people upset last night.
I tell people what I think. We have a very strict standard on this show, and some people, look, here's the deal. We talk about people when someone is a newsmaker, someone is of societal influence, someone is a celebrity. I've had this rule the entire 8 years I've been at this radio station. We tell you the truth. We tell you the whole story. And I've been doing this my entire life. I treat others as I would want to be treated, which is
in life and death.
In life and death, you talk about the person the exact same. If you had an opinion on somebody and you sugarcoat that, when they die, you are being a big fat phony. So you want to do it when we come back?
We're going to talk about Pete Rose coming up from 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
Let's now name all the things you would rather do other than move.
Gastro bypass surgery.
And I was just going to go for enema. Same body part, just from different angles.
Takes half as long.
This show is excellent, by the way.
I love it.
You know, we got nominated for a Marconi. We didn't get nominated this year. I don't see another one in our future.
It's like that Colts won Super Bowl championship. We'll always have that.
I was going to put up a finalist banner.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
As a female gun owner, finding the right store can make all the difference. At Premier Arms, they understand that your journey to self-protection is personal and empowering. So whether you're a seasoned shooter or you're just starting out, they're there to guide you with respect and understanding. You can trust Premier Arms to take care of you without making you feel foolish or uninformed. I do. Hey, it's Casey Daniels. Consider Premier Arms. They're in Brownsburg, or you can find them online, premierarms.com. Call 317-858-3030.
Fellas, if you're not upbeat like you used to be, it could be low testosterone. It affects our moods. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, can help you get back to your best. Guys have different T levels. We're not all the same. Don't go for that TRT referred to as a standard dosage plan. Ask. There's a difference. Look for TRT with an optimized personal treatment plan like you'll get with the experts at Low T Center. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go.
The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Donald Trump Jr. here. Since January of 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back, but you can stop your losses by diversifying into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. That's SHELTER to the number 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold now.
Message and data rates may apply.
Tire Discounters announces our latest breakthrough, TD Chat BS. This software allows us to detect untruths, deceptions, and even outright lies. Let's listen in as we call a local car dealer.
Hi, I drive your model of auto or truck. I need servicing.
Oh, that's great. You should always call the dealer for service to make sure your warranty stays intact.
Untruth.
Excuse me?
I can attend at Tire Discounters for all services, even for all manufacturers' scheduled maintenance. Warranty not affected.
But it's only us dealers who really know our own models.
Deception. Tire Discounters technicians are certified experts for all makes and models.
Okay, maybe.
How many dollars do you charge me for? As few as Tire Discounters?
We are not that much more.
Outright lie. Ending call now. Bye.
No,
Adios. Aloha. Hasta la pasta.
Right now, save up to $250 on Cooper tires, and Shocks and Struts are buy 3, get 1 free.
Hey, Pat Sullivan here, letting you know that when you need plumbing help, call who I call, my friends at Hope Plumbing. During the month of September, Hope will take $100 off a $500 or more plumbing service. Sounds like a fantastic deal to me. So if you notice a water leak, a clogged drain, or have any other plumbing needs, big or small, Hope Plumbing can fix them all. Hope Plumbing, 641-HOPE. That's 641-HOPE. Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for advice and fun, brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
Johnny Bench said, "No one can replace you." This of Pete Rose, who passed away yesterday at the age of 83. Getting a lot of different reactions, and a very different reaction from Rob Kendall was received online yesterday. And I warned you.
Well,
you've been warned.
Here's the deal. When we talk about newsmakers, whether they're politicians, actors, whatever, they lived a public life. And I think one of the things that we do well is we tell you the whole story. And sometimes we have some takes on things that are a little uncomfortable for some people. They make people mad, but we are consistent and we don't waver. And so we will tell you the truth, what we think about things. Since the time I was very young, I want people to speak of me when I'm no longer here exactly as they did when I was here. If you loved me, shout it loud, shout it proud. If you despise me, blast it on social media. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't do the phony stuff, because I think we live in a culture that is oftentimes a little two-faced in the way they, kind of present themselves. And the reality of Pete Rose is this. On one hand, Pete Rose is arguably one of the 10 greatest baseball players that ever lived. He's one of the greatest winners that ever lived. He was one of the hardest players that ever played the game. He was a phenomenal in his playing career, a phenomenal, for most of his playing career, a phenomenal benefit to the game of baseball. He inspired many, many people. He inspired people to take up baseball, to play baseball harder, to play baseball better. He was one of the best to ever do it, hands down.
Hit King holds the major league record for games, at-bats, hits, and singles.
Longevity, consistency, absolutely big game player. I mean, the fact that he wins all those championships in Cincinnati, then goes to Philadelphia. He was a winner there. He goes to Montreal. He was a winner there. It is undisputable that Pete Rose is was one of the best to ever play the game of baseball. And that is a big part of his story. But Pete Rose's life is divided in half, and you cannot exclude one from the other because they are joined, they're entwined at the hip. And the reality is that for all the time Pete Rose spent being great at baseball and inspiring people to play baseball and play baseball harder and play baseball better, he spent just as much time for the remainder of his life lying and cheating and conniving and bullying and intimidating people who told the truth about him. The reality is, in baseball, there is one unforgivable sin. It is just like Adam and Eve with the tree of the forbidden fruit, right? You can do basically whatever you want in baseball. You can be an ist, you can be a phobe, you can be a this, you can be a that, and there are a lot of bad guys in the Baseball Hall of Fame. But from the time you are a little boy and throughout the entire history of baseball, the one thing you know you cannot do is bet on the game. And I've seen so many people say, no, well, there's sports books everywhere, and players are not betting on baseball. Players, it is still dunzo if you bet on baseball. And in the modern era of sports betting apps being everywhere, players are doing this stuff now, and they're getting caught, and they're being kicked out of baseball. And if you have so little self-control, which Pete Rose very clearly had a serious, serious gambling addiction, that you cannot not do the one thing that will get you kicked out of the thing that you love. He had an opportunity when that was exposed, going all the way back to the late 1980s, when Bart Giamatti and was a commissioner and the Dowd Report, to own it, to say, I did this thing.
Could have made good.
I have this clear compulsion with gambling that I cannot help. I am sorry for the game that I love, that I've tarnished the game. I will go serve my pittance. I will get better. I will spend my life trying to educate people on how not to live the life that I have lived. But what did he do? He spent 20 years or more than 20 years lying about it, telling people he didn't do it, trying to derail and steamroll any person who spoke the truth. Remember that interview with Jim Gray in 1999 at the World Series? There was the World Series. They had the all-century team. They let Pete Rose back on the field for one time. Jim Gray says, hey, would you like to now admit you did this, and let's put this all behind you? And he went ballistic on Jim Gray. And Jim Gray was vilified by an NBC Sports reporter for having the audacity to ask Pete Rose to tell the truth. And this is what Pete Rose did throughout most of the remainder of his life, was deny, deflect, deceive, lie, bully, steamroll, intimidate people who spoke the truth, and then only told the truth when there was a large paycheck at the end of the rainbow for him. He told the truth after all those years in order to make money. Now, I'm not going to sit here because the guy passed away yesterday and act like those things didn't happen. Because one of the biggest problems with our culture and our society, and we see it with our politics all the time, which is why we have these horrific people representing us who have put the country in this position, is we're willing to excuse whatever if we like something that they did.
Okay, so I think that there are a lot of people who are going to get very nostalgic about him. And if you go against loving Pete Rose today, you should expect some backlash from that, because there are many people who grew up watching him play and loving his game. I was one of those people. Growing up in Centerville, Ohio, we were 35 minutes from Kings Island, and that was a huge core childhood memory for me. Driving back at night from Kings Island to go home and listening to the Cincinnati Reds and the Big Red Machine playing on the radio. Sitting in the back seat of the car, Dad driving us home. You had Sparky Anderson, you had Dave Concepcion, you had Johnny Bench, you had the Great Eight, and Pete Rose was the leader of that gang.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of people who don't want to talk about the bad side of Pete Rose.
But none of that changed. It's like, so Sammy Sosa with the Chicago Cubs. I'm a huge Chicago Cubs fan. Sammy Sosa was a liar and a cheat, and just like Pete Rose, has never owned up to what he did. To this day, he will continue to lie and act as though he did not take performance-enhancing drugs. I'm treating him the same way. which is if you have made a mistake in your life and you are truly sorry for it, you own it, you apologize. What are the three things, right? What is it? The three steps that you always talk about with the politicians?
Oh, you have to admit the mistake,
Right.
apologize for the mistake, and take corrective action.
Right. He didn't do any of those until it was time for him to cash in. He went to federal prison, Casey. This was not, Twinkle Toes and Apple Jacks. He went to federal prison. That's how deceptive he was.
Okay, so we have to have the Hall of Fame conversation, and we have to get to the news. So maybe we need round 2 of this, because now everybody's saying he had that lifetime ban.
Yeah, let's do
from
it.
the Hall of Fame. However, his life is over now.
Okay, so real quick, let's do that. But I want to tell you that the guy who wrote the best take I've seen on Pete Rose is a lifelong Reds fan, loves the Cincinnati Reds, and he's about to do the news next. Kurt Darling had the best take on Pete Rose. Kurt, is your stuff public? Can people read it? Can they?
Not on my Facebook, but I can discuss it with you when we come back.
Yeah, why don't we do that? We'll talk a little bit, and then we'll bring Kurt. We'll have Kurt come in here, and because people are so mad at me. And look, Kurt's much more dignified and diplomatic and nice about the way he says things. But I thought Kurt basically said the same thing that I said, and he is a lifelong Reds fan. So we'll do that when we come back.
It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Indiana Pathways for Aging helps Hoosier Medicaid members age 60 and over get support at no additional cost to live life their way.
Mom's Parkinson's is progressing, and Pathways provides in-home support so she can be with family every day.
Pathways coordinates Medicaid and Medicare services. I'm getting help with meals, personal care, and transportation.
One day, I might choose a nursing home, but today, I have options with Pathways.
To learn more, eligible members call 87 Pathway 4 or visit in.gov/pathways.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Trying to keep people fed. It's mostly cloudy and 69 on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling for Window Nation. Here's what's trending at 9:30. All hands on deck in North Carolina, where several methods are being used to get supplies to people who need it after Hurricane Helene. Fox's Eben Brown.
The feet of water sitting on top of Asheville and its surrounding villages in mountainous western North Carolina are moving downstream, revealing the most devastating things.
It's just destroyed bridges that it's going to take years to build this back.
Zach Dasher lives in Swannanoa, east of Asheville. Most roadways in that part of the state remain closed. Supplies are arriving by air, and some volunteers are riding mules to deliver food and water to hard-to-reach mountainside villages. Eben Brown, Fox News.
Dock workers on the east and Gulf coasts of the U.S. are on strike as of midnight this morning. It's the first large-scale strike that workers' stoppages have had in about 50 years. Dock workers have halted the flow of about a half of the nation's ocean shipping after negotiations for new labor contracts broke down over wages and terminal automation. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. Another bad start to the day. The Dow was off 165 to 42,164. The NASDAQ off 35 to 18,153. And the S&P 500 is down 15 to 5,746. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
It's Hammer and Nigel for Window Nation. It's getting cold, your heating bills are on the rise, and your house's old damaged windows are letting all that heat and all your money go right out the window. Good thing there's Window Nation. Right now, buy 2 windows and get 2 free, plus pay nothing for 24 months. You'll love your windows.
You're going to love your windows like I love my Window Nation windows, but you got to hustle. This sale ends October 31st, so schedule a fast in-home estimate right now. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Having health insurance is important. So, if you or anyone in your family has Medicaid or CHIP, listen up. Check your mail for a renewal form from your state. Complete the form and mail it back right away so you don't lose your coverage. If you do lose Medicaid or CHIP, Visit healthcare.gov to see if you're eligible to enroll in a low-cost, quality health plan. Keep your family covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Are you concerned about rising property taxes? My name is Donald Rainwater, Libertarian candidate for governor. My plan would limit your property taxes to 1% of the purchase price of your property. It would never increase, and it would end once you've paid for 7 years. To learn more about my plan to make Indiana government less taxing, go to rainwaterforindiana.com and watch the televised gubernatorial debates this October. My name is Donald Rainwater, and I approve this message, paid for by Rainwater for Indiana.
Here is Jiffy Lube of Indiana's COO, Lonnie Hinkle.
Lots of Hoosiers belong to unlimited car wash programs because they want their car to look great. At Jiffy Lube, we're here to help you make sure your car runs great. So to help take care of your car inside and out, Jiffy Lube is offering everyone who belongs to a monthly car wash program a $20 discount and a free tire rotation from now through the end of the year. Just point out your car wash sticker and we'll do the rest. My Jiffy Lube teams are maintenance experts. Our computer system provides all of the manufacturer's maintenance recommendations for every make and model of vehicle, so we know exactly what every car needs to operate at its best. Jiffy Lube is your trusted one-stop shop for all that your car needs to run well for many years. You never need an appointment, and we now offer brakes, tires, tune-ups, and minor repairs at most stores. So stop in on your way to the car wash, save $20, plus get a free tire rotation just for belonging to a monthly car wash program.
Jiffy Lube. Nobody does it better.
Go now to bwindow.com and receive $400 off per window and $250 off any patio or entry door, plus 2.99% financing.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
He holds the major league record for games, 3,562. At bats, 14,053. Hits, 4,256. And singles, 3,215. He would go full throttle at the plate, one of the greatest players of all time. Named the Hit King. We're talking about Pete Rose this morning. However, many people would say he was a narcissist with a bad haircut decades before narcissism and bad haircuts were a thing. We're discussing Pete Rose this morning.
Okay, so last segment, we lay it out here that my thing with people is I say exactly in death is what I thought of you in life, and we're not going to sugarcoat it, and we're all adults here, and I think people are mature enough to hear that. And the reality with Pete Rose is if you're an intellectually honest person, there is a dividing line in Pete Rose's life, and they are both of equal relevance when you tell his story. And the first part of it is one of the greatest baseball players who ever lived, one of the greatest winners who ever lived, a guy who in the 70s and 80s taught people how to play the game hard and play the game right and show up to work every day. And all of those things are indisputable about Pete Rose. However, and this is where I get really concerned because it's a much bigger conversation than just Pete Rose. It's a conversation about something that happens in all facets of our society, most notably our politicians. We talk about tribalism all the time, right? Where people get mad at us if we talk about somebody on the Republican side in a mean, air quote, mean fashion. Why? Because that's our team. You can't say anything, even if it's blatantly true, if it's obvious to everyone. Well, you're attacking someone who has meant something to me. Talking about a life that someone lived and how the two things are equal in the story, that's not attacking someone. That's being honest with you. And the reality is that Pete Rose, for all the great things he did as a player in the game of baseball, spent just as much time in his life lying to people, deceiving them, bullying them, intimidating them, steamrolling them, until it came time to be profitable to tell the truth. And then he finally told the truth. And I have no tolerance. I have no tolerance for that. And I saw in the YouTube chat, one guy said, I want to make sure I try to quote him right here. He basically said, it doesn't matter. Oh, here we go. You did not change my mind, Rob. Rose is still my baseball hero and always will be. So what you're saying is, because somebody did one thing really well, all of this other stuff they did that did a ton of harm to a ton of people, well, it simply doesn't matter because he did this one thing well. No, it does matter. Honesty does matter. Integrity does matter. Doing things the right way does matter. those people like Jim Gray, and there's countless people, Dowd, all of those people who Rose spent years and years belittling and smearing and had other people on his behalf, those people matter too. And all they did was tell the truth or get to the truth. And so you cannot tell this guy's story without telling them both. Now, I read this yesterday and I about fell out of my chair because I said, this guy said it perfectly, and he said it as a Cincinnati Reds fan. And I said, we have to have him on the show today to talk about this, because he's basically saying everything I'm saying, but in a much nicer, more diplomatic way. Is lifelong Reds fan Kurt Darling. Kurt, I'm going to give you the floor, because I just thought your take was...
I could read it.
Yeah,
verbatim if you want.
It may be a little long. I mean, it's a long take.
I can do it.
All right,
quickly,
very good.
So.
Yeah, just the floor is yours, man, because I just thought you said everything I'm trying to say, and maybe you just said it in a more diplomatic
So
fashion.
a rare point of me putting my commentary hat on here. So I simply said Pete Rose, the greatest hitter statistically in the history of the game, was a bulldog running the bases and played with a vigor now virtually unmatched in this day and age. He was a fixture of the Big Red Machine, leading them to multiple World Series titles and a golden era of Reds baseball. His accomplishments are, in fact, Hall of Fame worthy. There is no disputing that. That being said, speaking as an ardent Reds fan, his accomplishments on the diamond will forever be entwined with his shortcomings off of it. He gambled on baseball both while playing and managing, lied about it, and then quote-unquote admitted to it through a book that he financially benefited from mightily. He also lobbied for his own admission into the Hall of Fame, which should give you an even bigger clue as to the type of person he really was. So let's talk about that. Considering that Shoeless Joe Jackson is still not in the Hall of Fame when it was never proven that he threw the World Series in 1919, all while there is overwhelming proof that Rose engaged in similar behavior, should only be logical that Rose gets in line behind Jackson, even adding the steroids offending players, Bonds, McGuire, Sosa, etc., which is a whole other can of worms. Also acknowledging that Jackson's eligibility for the Hall of Fame has also long expired. In summation, Pete Rose will always have his accomplishments on the baseball diamond, and they will always be remembered as something great and should be given the accolades they deserve. It's just a shame that it has all been tarnished by the man he chose to be off of the diamond, which has resulted in his justifiable exclusion to Cooperstown. And if you think otherwise, so be it.
Okay.
I thought that was
Yeah.
I thought that was
nice
so well written, and it's nice to hear from someone.
Well, I mean, it's just like, you have to speak candidly about both sides of Pete Rose. He was a fantastic baseball player, but I mean, off of it though, it's just like baseball. You represent the whole game, and
here's the thing, and then I'll turn over to you, Casey. Everything he said is true. Your memories don't go away of listening to Pete Rose on the radio or seeing him on local television.
Or going to Riverfront Stadium.
We're not insulting your memories. Your memories are great, and I'm glad you have them, and they're wonderful. The same way as I can remember seeing Sammy Sosa hit a home run out of Old Red Stadium into where they were building the new ballpark, and that was freaking awesome when I was 15 or 16 years old. It was amazing. I remember it so vividly. The same way as my dad remembers seeing Mickey Mantle hit a home run in Comiskey Park in the 1960s. You can have all those things, and they can be true, and yet you can also still say, but this stuff was inexcusable, and he knew it, and he still did it, and he lied about it for years. I mean, both of these things can be true, and I just feel like with so many of the Rose people, they're not willing to be intellectually honest. Like Kurt is, which is to say, both of these things can be correct.
Okay, now you're talking about the whole sum of the person, right? There's the baseball player, what he did on the field, and then there's the person, what he did off of the field. When it comes to Hall of Fame, which is separate from MLB, run by two different organizations, Hall of Fame said it was a lifetime ban. All right, his life is over. At this point, it's not an eternal ban. Should he be considered to be in the Hall of Fame? And I'll make this point. It is the Baseball Hall of Fame, and there's no disputing what he did in the game of baseball. It's not a sports person their whole life, do we like this guy Hall of Fame?
Then
so
put
if you
Shoeless
take
Joe Jackson in.
Yeah,
He's
right, and I don't need to make this Mr. Nuanced baseball conversation. Joe Jackson was 100 times the player Pete Rose was. Had Joe Jackson not been kicked out of baseball, next to Babe Ruth probably would have been remembered as the greatest baseball player of all time. You're right. Baseball Hall of Fame is a museum. It's not it's not directly connected to Major League Baseball. However, Pete Rose agreed to this ban, and he's right. And he
did agree to it, but that agreement's over now. The guy's not with us anymore.
No, but I think the actual wording was not lifetime. I think the actual wording was essentially, to quote the guy in the Sandlot,
never, ever,
that he would be kicked. And let's not forget, Pete Rose went to federal prison essentially over income tax evasion, right? I mean, this was not an isolated thing. This guy knew what he was doing. He lied about it. He covered I challenge any person to read all 225 pages of the Dowd report, which is the report that ended up getting Pete Rose the lifetime ban on baseball, and you tell me that's someone who deserves to be hoisted up and be celebrated. But the point of all of this is, it doesn't take away any of your memories the same way as it doesn't take away any of my memories of what I learned as an adult that Sammy Sosa became. We can all have all of these things, but if you are willing to say that we cannot have an honest and direct conversation about a huge portion of someone's life, and you are willing to say that I am going to waive or I'm going to whitewash all of these horrific things this person did because I like this thing that we did over here, then I present to you why we are now in a country where everything is on fire, everything is in turmoil, and we are $35 trillion in debt. The prosecution rests. Thank you for these 2 segments. Let's take our Marconi and go home.
As we go to break, here is Pete Rose breaking Ty Cobb's hit record, still remarkable.
And here comes the main attraction. And they're on their feet. Rose walking toward the plate. The most famous number 14 in the history of this game. And trying to make history right here in the first inning tonight. He levels the bat a couple of times. Shao kicks and he fires. Rose swings.
There it is. There it is. Get out. Get out. All right.
Hit number 4192. A line drive single into left center field. A clean base hit. And it is pandemonium here at Riverfront Stadium.
Debate night, Hammer and Nigel show. We crack the mic at 3:06. We'll get you ready for Tim Walz, J.D. Vance. Or if that bores you, we'll just laugh and have a good time.
As summer fades and the cool breeze of fall sets in, it's the perfect time to get back to the basics, especially when it comes to your financial future. At Howard Bailey Financial, we believe in simplifying your retirement plan. Our team of advisors help you build a customized retirement strategy that is designed to help reduce risk, increase income, and mitigate tax. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your plan, we're here to guide you every step of the way. It's never too early or too late to make sure your financial future is secure. Text BASICS to 888-494-5004 to download your complimentary retirement planning toolkit today. That's BASICS to 888-494-5004. Howard Bailey Financial. Back to the basics. Forward to your future. Howard Bailey Securities LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
You don't have to keep living with that joint pain. Tony Katz here, and real lasting relief is possible with help from QC Kinetics. People are getting their lives back, getting their mobility back. Thanks to QC Kinetics, they're the nation's leader in cellular therapies that can revitalize your joints. Advanced regenerative medicine, people. So it's utilizing your body's own healing properties. They're highly concentrated. They're placed into your achy joints, the back pain, the shoulder pain, the knee pain, gone. These are cutting-edge treatments. No surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. And a lot of you, you're not getting that problem taken care of because you're afraid of missing time at work. That's not the deal with QC Kinetics. These protocols developed by medical professionals and under the leadership of Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, a former orthopedic surgeon and a pioneer in clinical regenerative medicine. You owe it to yourself to learn more. Call QC Kinetics today for a free consultation. QC Kinetics in Eagle Creek, in Greenwood, and in Carmel. Call 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN. QC Kinetics. 317-559-PAIN.
Mecum Auctions returns to Indianapolis October 3rd to the 5th at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Join us for the fun, fast-paced, high-energy Mecum experience with 1,000 vehicles up for auction. For avid collectors, first-time buyers, and enthusiasts of all ages, Mecum Auctions is for you. Register to bid and buy spectator tickets now at Mecum.com. That's Mecum.com.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it.
The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Wealth-changing question. Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. Your money deserves better, and so do you. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first, and then they create a customized plan and portfolio by partnering with our in-house money managers, accountants, and attorneys. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
You want to listen all day to WIBC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry. There's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts, Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
So many people are saying that Kamala Harris needs to do more interviews. Not sure if this is what they had in mind. She made an appearance in the All the Smoke podcast. It's an NBA podcast, or at least that's how it began, hosted by Matt Barnes and also Steven Jackson. But they hosted Kamala Harris, and they talked a lot more than just basketball. They went through many different subjects. She got a little personal in all of them, and there were sometimes it almost seemed like she realized that she needed to shut up because she was sounding ridiculous.
Well, I mean, look, she is a complete buffoon. I mean, there is no... I mean, when you can't even stage a photo correctly, which they couldn't do. I mean, the lack of attention to detail. I mean, all of it's just, I mean, my goodness, we are a 50-50. It's a coin flip on whether she's going to be running this country for the next 4 years. And if it is, I mean, goodbye America, right? I mean, I mean, not only is she a radical leftist, I mean, she is a complete idiot.
She was talking about, at one point, the hosts were saying how they would go out to the clubs, and she was agreeing with them and started listing off different cities and bars. And here she is talking about going to the club with her sister, Stacy Johnson's father.
An incredible family and incredible friends. My best friend from kindergarten is still one of my best friends.
That's crazy.
Right? Stacy Johnson.
Yeah, that's dope. I love it.
We used to go to the clubs and her father Seville.
Yeah.
She talked about how when she first met Doug Emhoff that she described to him what it was like coming from a divorced family.
Well, it is interesting to see sort of the battle lines being drawn in this campaign. And the problem she has is she's so wholly unlikable that even when you put her in, fluff piece positions, she can't hit it out of them. And the Oprah thing was a train wreck. And this is a train wreck. Nobody hears her. And they're like Obama, when you heard him. Now, any reasonable person saw it through his bull crap, or you should have. But there were a lot of people who didn't. Right? I mean, I remember in college being like seeing all these people that were just fawning over his, aura or whatever. And it was like, this was way before I was involved in politics or anything. It was like, I cannot believe you people are buying this. And I didn't say that as somebody who was a John McCain fan, but you could see how a person might be swayed by Obama's perceived intellect, which it's obviously been debunked that he really didn't have, his coolness or whatever. With her, there is nothing about her that you're like, man, she'd be fun to hang out with. Ooh, I bet that was a real swinging hot time. Can you imagine having to spend 6 or 7 hours out in public with her? Oh my gosh, what would you choose? Do that or have your eyes stabbed out with an ice pick?
She mentioned that when she found out that Joe Biden was no longer going to be the candidate, that she didn't sleep that night and she had insomnia. And the next day was the day that she picked Tim Walz to be her running mate. So lack of sleep, poor choice. And she mentioned that when she heard the news, she went down and started seasoning a pot roast.
Yeah, like the whole thing with her. And this is the thing. They tell so many lies and they don't even know what the truth is anymore. It's almost like, I found this in this Vince McMahon documentary that I was watching where these guys get so wrapped up in their character, and they just morph into one thing. And do we have time to play this audio? I know there's something you want to play. We got 1 minute left. Do we have time?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
She's talking about one of her guilty pleasures here when she's on the road campaigning.
One of my guilty pleasures, especially when I'm on the road, are my Doritos.
Oh, what flavor?
Nacho.
Nacho.
Old school, original.
OG.
Come on.
Yeah. OG.
Come on.
Red bag.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
Red bag.
That's exactly. Got to have a napkin nearby.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She's so trying to be normal.
But they don't even know. And so many of these politicians, they lose complete. Like I said, it's just like these wrestlers where they just morph in. Like Hulk Hogan doesn't even know his name's Terry Bollea unless you remind him anymore. Vince McMahon thinks he is Mr. McMahon, the character. Like they cease to be essentially that independent human they were. And these politicians, she is the exact same way. All right, what are we doing next?
Well, we've got True Crime Tuesday coming up in just a little bit. And we also have to talk about what's going on with the Mike Braun campaign and also that Netflix documentary featuring Eric Holcomb.
All right, it's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
$16,500. $16,500.
Is that how much money you're about to give me, Casey?
That's how much money it could cost the average American couple every single year if the Social Security Trust Fund runs out of money.
Multiply that by 10 or 20 years, and it's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That's why it's critical you have the right strategy to file for Social Security.
Discover how you could wring every nickel out of your benefits with a free, customized Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy.
We know and trust Bill, and you can too. If you've saved more than $200,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 317-932-9912. This free analysis could help you wring every nickel out of your benefits that are rightfully yours.
Call 317-932-9912. 317-932-9912.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-9369. 800-525-9369. 800-525-9369.
Jennifer McCormick backed Hillary Clinton for president. And when McCormick was in charge of education in Indiana, our schools ranked at the bottom. She even opposed school choice. Then McCormick backed Joe Biden for president and supported his trillion-dollar spending scheme that caused all the inflation. Now she runs for governor on a plan that would increase your energy bills, create a new office of environmental justice, and ban gas stoves. Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal.
This is Mike Braun. Here's my plan for Indiana. I'll enforce immigration laws even when the federal government fails to act, keeping our streets safe and secure. And my plan lowers more costs. I'll cut property taxes, reduce energy bills, and expand parental choice and school voucher programs. Indiana needs strong leadership. We can get it done.
Mike Braun, governor. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
When it's time to renovate, it's time to call Booher, B-O-O-H-E-R, BooherRemodeling.com, because it's about the process. It's about dealing with professionals who are with you every step of the way, communicating how things work. The best craftsmen and professionals who have been doing kitchens and bathrooms in Indianapolis for 2 decades. Talk to Booher Remodeling today about how they work and why it will work for you and your new kitchen. Call 317-852-5546, 852-5546, or online at Booher, B-O-O-H-E-R, BooherRemodeling.com.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
One night, one stage, Billy Joel and Sting. Saturday, February 8th. Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Pre-sale for City Card members now through Thursday. Public on sale Friday at 9 a.m. Get tickets at Ticketmaster. Saturday, February 8th. Don't miss Billy Joel and Sting.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Nobody likes a cold shower. LD Smith has hot deals on water heaters. Save up to $300 on a new water heater installed.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest.
Coming up in 2 minutes, how Hoosier pilots are helping those struggling in the flooding out east. Plus, Ryan Hedrick reports on what led to a murder in Beech Grove. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers Studios. After Fox News, you're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
It's getting tenser in the Middle East. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. U.S. officials just told Fox an Iran missile attack on Israel may be imminent, days after an Israeli strike killed Hezbollah's leader. And today, Israeli troops have gone into Lebanon in a limited ground offensive targeting Iran-backed Hezbollah. Secretary of State Antony Blinken just said,
"The United States is committed to Israel's defense."
It's another rough day for millions of Hurricane Helene victims from Florida to North Carolina, where Fox's Steve Harrigan reports.
There's really a growing sense of frustration with the pace of recovery here, especially in Asheville. People telling us they're not happy with the slow response, a sluggish response.
The storm is blamed for 128 deaths. There are more than 1 million power outages still. Dock workers have gone on strike at ports from Maine to Texas.
We're out here for one reason. Fighting for our rights, fighting for our families.
Longshoremen's union leader Harold Daggett addressing dock workers in New Jersey. Fox Business Network's Lydia, who is in Newark.
The group representing the employers actually made an offer yesterday to the union to increase wages by 50%. They offered to triple the employer contributions to employee benefits and keep the current protections on automation for the workers the same. But the union rejected that offer.
The strike could disrupt supply chains, and on Wall Street, stocks are falling. The Dow's down 258 points. The economy will no doubt be a big topic tonight when J.D. Vance and Tim Walz clash in the CBS News vice presidential debate. Both mics will stay on the whole time.
So we expect this debate to be particularly testy. Look, both of these candidates have been personal, jabbing at each other. We expect Vance to go after Walz on his military record and the accusation of stolen valor. And we expect Walz to go after Vance for his Yale background and for not really being a true Midwesterner.
Ryan Yanis, America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Helping those out east. It's mostly cloudy and 68 on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Hoosiers who can fly a plane are being asked to help haul supplies to struggling families in North Carolina due to the historic flooding taking place there from Hurricane Helene. The fleet of private aircraft is being organized by the Indiana Civilian Crisis Response Team.
The people that are affected in North Carolina and others, need our help. They're stranded, a lot of them where they are. They can't get the supplies that they need on their own.
Organizer Aaron Huff on Wish TV. So far, 130 people have died in the southeast because of Hurricane Helene. A girl was murdered in Beech Grove on Sunday, and police say they found a motive for the killing. Ryan Hedrick reports.
Police say it was a drug deal that led a 15-year-old boy to shoot and kill 18-year-old Michaela Bowman. Beech Grove Deputy Police Chief Tom Hurley says there are several factors pushing teenagers to commit murder.
The juvenile culture, their access to firearms, their devil-may-care attitude,
the not realizing that life is a sacred thing, and just in general having no respect.
Hurley says police are looking into video evidence. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
11 pounds of pot. That's what was discovered in a man's car in Fort Wayne Monday. Kevin Lamb was pulled over because police spotted him for having a warrant out for his arrest. Upon searching his car, they found the marijuana. He admitted to buying the pot in Michigan and planning to sell it here in Indiana. The family of Riker Earl are blaming excessive force used by Jasper County Sheriff's deputies for his death.
As we went to the service, I noticed on Riker many bruises on his hands. I know that was from the handcuffs.
His grandmother, Sharon Krause Earl, he'd been having a medical emergency and was struggling with EMTs when deputies are seen on body cam holding him down until he became unconscious. Purdue head coach Ryan Walters making some changes, having fired offensive coordinator Garrett Harrell and naming Jason Simmons as the new interim OC. Simmons is the former head coach at Ben Davis High School for 5 seasons. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi. My daughter invited her entire class to her birthday party. Can my Wi-Fi handle it?
Oh, well, at Xfinity, our latest gateways have tri-band Wi-Fi technology, letting you connect hundreds of devices at once.
No way. So if all the kids are watching stuff on their phones, well, their parents are sharing videos online.
Yep, go ahead and watch videos. They can all do their thing and party their way. No problem.
Oh, we are gonna need a bigger cake.
Now through October 10th, get fast, reliable 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $30 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract with free Wi-Fi equipment included. And ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with Xfinity Mobile. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Xfinity, bring on the good stuff. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless bill and auto post direct bank account. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Tuesday, October 1st, 35 days until the election. 5 minutes after 10. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. That is Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels, and Mike Braun, who is running for governor in the great state of Indiana, has dropped a new campaign ad. In it, he says that Jennifer McCormick, who is a Democrat, has hopelessly liberal agenda and that she's out of touch with Hoosiers and that her support for Biden, Harris, Hillary Clinton, and others just shows her failed policies, and they will not fly in Indiana.
Do we have the audio from this ad?
We do.
Okay, why don't we play it and then we'll talk about it, because you can't see it, but we'll tell you why the controversy on this. But I wanted to play the ad to give people sort of a base of reference of what we're going to talk about here.
Jennifer McCormick backed Hillary Clinton for president. And when McCormick ran public education in Indiana, we ranked at the bottom. Then she backed Joe Biden and his trillion-dollar spending spree that caused inflation. Now she runs for governor on a plan to stop school choice and prevent parents from having more say in their child's education. She even wants an office of environmental justice and to ban gas stoves. Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal.
Okay, so let's touch on a couple things before we get to the controversy. Number one, they're absolutely right. She voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016. She was asked directly by Adam Wren of Importantville. This was a year ago. She was asked, did you vote for Donald Trump in 2016? And she would not. She claimed she couldn't remember, Casey. She claimed she couldn't remember who she voted for president in 2016.
I voted for Donald Trump. I remember.
Yeah, right. So everybody needs to know that what she is. I mean, Jennifer McCormick, I've described her as a person with an incredibly likable personality, but extremist policies. She is a total radical. She was an invention of the Holcomb administration, because the Holcomb administration was petrified that an actual liberty-minded conservative was going to be nominated for superintendent. They put her up to run in 2016. Holcomb up for that little group of merry band of misfits, and she was put into power by those people. She is a total leftist. She sat in this chair. She would not answer the question of any limits on abortion. She is a total maniac. Now, Braun is in some hot water because, and remember we talked about this at the time, about how stupid this law was. And I said, it's going to bite them in the ass eventually. And gosh darn it if it didn't. They passed a law last year in Indiana because the politicians will always protect themselves, which is they didn't want any sort of upstarts coming in and having any fun with ads with artificial intelligence that might make them look bad. So the Republicans passed a law last year that said if you alter an image and there's certain legal standards or whatever, you've got to put a
disclaimer on the bottom, and it says elements of this media have been digitally altered or artificially generated.
Okay, so remember at the time we were saying how ridiculous this is because my wife was doing those AI images of Duke of Spendingburg and the Flanders Boys and High Tax Holcomb, and we said, well, now can my wife get in legal trouble because she's altered the image of a politician? I mean, it's a wholly ridiculous ad. But the point is, this is the field the Republicans wanted to play in. They did it to protect themselves because they don't want outsiders coming in and potentially making them look bad. So Braun, in this ad, alters an image of McCormick at some sort of rally.
She's at a podium, and there's people behind her holding up signs.
Right, and this in the image, the people then are now holding where the original signs were McCormick for governor or whatever. The signs are now like a gas stove with a circle and a line through it because she's a part of this environmental group that wants to, I mean, everything about this woman is wacko, right? Whether it's abortion or the environment or whatever, she is a total leftist. And she is a part of a group, and let's face it, she agrees with this. But the point was the actual rally that she was at or attending, those people were not holding those signs, doing those things. Now, Braun, apparently when they sent the ad out, it did not have the disclaimer on it. Now, and the TV stations got it, et cetera. Now, where there's some confusion is, apparently they caught that it didn't have the disclaimer. They said we need to recall the ad. Well, the TV stations had still either, insiders or whatever had disseminated it to the media saying, hey, look, it does this, it didn't have the thing on it, whatever. And then the first guy to report on this was, we mentioned before, is Adam Wren of Importantville. And now everybody's losing their mind going, oh, they broke the law. They could put Braun in prison, blah, 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 blah. My point on all of this is, Jennifer McCormick is a total radical. She is a Hillary Clinton supporter. She is an environmental nut job. She is an on-demand abortion advocate. But why is Braun even doing this? He's way ahead in the independent polls. All he has to do is go out there and talk about, I'm going to fix your property taxes. Here's how I'm going to fix it. I'm for universal school choice. Here's how that's going to better your kid. Why he's even going at her, I don't understand. And he needlessly got himself in a little bit of a pickle. Now, nothing's going to come of this. It's not like Mike Braun's going to be, in front of a military tribunal. But you just created needless headlines because she's not going to win anyway.
It is interesting that he decided to run a negative campaign attack ad against her. And Jennifer McCormick said Braun's team is so desperate to distract voters that they've stooped to using heavily doctored images. Disclaimer or not, it's just as honest. She went out and said that she never said she was against the
But
stove.
she is. She's a part of that group that is.
But
She's a
here's
part
the
of that
thing.
group that
Here's
is.
the thing that I think most people need to understand about media, whether it's television or radio. Commercials get edited and recut multiple times. Sometimes they get on the air and then the client says, oh, wait a minute, I want to make a change to that. And so it goes back into production. That happens consistently. You and I just had to do that today. We cut a commercial yesterday. They said copy change, recut it again today. It happens all of the time.
And keep in mind, the politicians did this to themselves to protect themselves, right? They don't want, this is the big takeaway. It's not Braun, it's not McCormick, it's not any of this. They passed a law to make it harder for insurgents to come up with creative ads because they know, these politicians know that they're going to win the money battle. They're going to win the infrastructure battle because the donors and lobbyists, because they dole out the favors, are all behind them. And they don't want somebody getting creative or getting cute. And it's nothing more than an incumbent Protection Act. That's the bigger story to me, is that the law actually exists. Then that's 1A. 1B is, if you're Braun, look, I've seen some internal numbers. I've seen the public polling that's been out there.
Yeah.
Just talk about what you're going to do. Nobody outside of the base of the she was at 30. What was she at? She was at 36 maybe in the one. Was she at 36 in the Emerson and 37 in Abdul's poll? She ain't even to 40%. At the end of the day, there's a lot of huffing and puffing about people who hate the Republicans. They always vote Republican anyway. Rainwater has no money. I'm going to depants him tomorrow in the debate, so the 7 voters he had left will probably be done with him then. Why are you worried? You have created an avenue by which now people can go, see, and then they can remind people of other issues that Braun has had related to campaigns and financing and everything else. I do not get why. I've seen the numbers. I've seen private numbers. I've seen public numbers. I know you're winning.
Yeah.
Why would you do this?
Clearly, they must have some sort of internal research that says we need to attack, we need to go negative, we need to tell people what they're voting against. Or he would just be talking about his successes and what you're voting for.
If you're going to do that, if you're going to go down that avenue, which, fine, negative campaigning works. It's why people do it. There's tons of stuff. Everybody says they hate it, but then they vote for the best negative ads. People don't, when it comes to voting, they don't actually hate it. There's tons of stuff that you can just talk about who she is without doing any of the altering stuff. And look, I don't have an issue with altering stuff. Look, we are adults here, right? It is a big boy game of politics, and there ain't no crying in baseball, and there ain't no crying in politics. And your job is to tell the public as a candidate what's real and what's bullcrap. And I don't have a problem with it, but I just don't think you needed to do it because now the media who hates you
has something to write about.
Yeah.
It is $1 million buy, so you will be seeing this commercial.
We need more rich friends who have the ability to do $1 million buys, Casey.
One thing that's interesting about it that I just started thinking, maybe the reason they did this is they're trying to put Jennifer McCormick in the same soup as Hillary Clinton, and everybody knows that she has very bad favorability numbers.
Look, the reality is, and you saw this in the Emerson polling and you saw it in the Abdul polling, which is Republicans are overwhelmingly just smoking Democrats as they always do. The one race that is moderately closer than the others is the Mike Braun race because Rainwater's there. Rainwater's a good candidate. Rainwater is an A-plus candidate for Libertarian. And people voted for him the last time, and he's a likable guy, and he has some interesting ideas, and he's very normal. And so, yes, he's going to pull 6 or 7% of the electorate in 2024. And those votes, the majority of them, take away the 3% that vote Libertarian all the time, 3% are basically being pulled away from Braun, or 4% or whatever the number is, and they're going to Rainwater. So Braun is going to underperform what Banks and Rokita and Trump are, because there's a strong libertarian.
There's a third person
running in the race.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about some of this tomorrow, maybe. Which, by the way, just a reminder, Rainwater and I are debating tomorrow, 11 o'clock. Casey, I've sent him the rules. He has them on his person.
Did he reply?
Well, I told him
I said, looks good.
I told him I was going to send them to him. I was very busy yesterday. He had said I hadn't received them. So then I told him I sent them. I didn't get it or anything. So I would assume Rainwater has those on his person. But the point of all this is just talk about how you're going to fix stuff, period.
Right. How it affects Hoosiers.
And you'll get 50 to 52% of the vote, and we'll all go be happy. I just thought it was sort of a needless – I just thought it was a needless mistake that he made because people are going to vote against her, because people vote against Democrats in the state because they are extremists.
Well, you got off this break. We didn't talk about Governor Holcomb.
Hey, wait. Time out.
We had planned to.
Time out. For these people, because we always get this in the YouTube chat. You can watch us on the YouTube feed. The Rainwater Brigade that pops up. Donald Rainwater has never been challenged. Okay, that stops tomorrow, right? We ain't on the same team no more. And in those debates in 2020, Woody Myers or Holcomb didn't even act like he existed. Donald Rainwater's never been challenged. His plan falls apart like wet paper when you actually make him explain it. And we're going to do that tomorrow.
All right, he's got some explaining to do.
Now, I know a lot of you people that are the Rainwater people because you're just mad at the Republicans, and that's fine. You don't care whether it makes sense, does make sense, can happen, can't. I get it. It's just like the Rose people. It don't matter what's going to happen tomorrow. But I'm telling you tomorrow, the Treasure Island campaign promises of Donald Rainwater going to stop right here at 11 o'clock.
Up next, it is True Crime Tuesday, and we've got Al Hunter from the Weekly Review, and he's going to talk about something that they do in Irvington.
Something big.
Yeah.
Did you know H.H. Holmes killed somebody in Irvington?
Well, We're going to find out all the details about that
How did
coming
I not
up.
know that until now?
You claim to be, I don't want to say a fan, but somebody who's interested.
People are the worst.
Yeah, he's going to tell us all about that coming up from 93 WIBC.
Kendall and Casey.
The rhetoric of the left. I mean, this guy was using the exact same words that Biden and Harris have been using. The right is not out there shooting at Joe Biden.
Kamala Harris calling Donald Trump the biggest threat to America since the Civil War. Many people are saying lone wolf. I'm questioning whether he truly was a lone wolf.
Well,
and I think many people are.
Kendall and Casey. Weekdays 9 till noon on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Pat Sullivan here for Hope Plumbing. For 17 years, my friends at Hope Plumbing have treated homes like their very own. With local owners who care deeply about this community, they put your health and safety at the forefront of their business. That's why when I need plumbing, I only call Hope Plumbing. They care about you and your family, which is why I believe they're the very best place to take your plumbing problems. Give them a call at 641-HOPE. That's 641-HOPE or hopeplumbing.com.
Fellas, if you're not upbeat like you used to be, it could be low testosterone. It affects our moods. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, can help you get back to your best. Guys have different T levels. We're not all the same. Don't go for that TRT referred to as a standard dosage plan. Ask. There's a difference. Look for TRT with an optimized personal treatment plan like you'll get with the experts at Low T Center. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Mommy, want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with DayQuil VapoCool. It's DayQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is DayQuil VapoCool.
DayQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Kendall and Casey present True Crime Tuesday on 93 WIBC.
You know, it is Tuesday, and what we do here on Tuesdays at this time is True Crime Tuesday. It's where we examine the darker nature of things. And this next guest is perfect because it is October, and many people celebrate Halloween in October. And Al Hunter and his wife, they lead ghost tours in Irvington. He's from The Weekly View. Al Hunter joins us for True Crime Tuesday. Al, tell me about the ghost tours that you do.
Well, we've been doing ghost tours in Irvington for 22 years. This will be our 22nd year in Irvington. We do them for the community. We started out raising funds for all sorts of little places and things and events in Irvington, and we continue that tradition today. We walk around Irvington. We tell, most people don't even realize the history of Irvington, what happened there, what's the people that came through there, and it's an introduction to the area, which is the first planned subdivision in Indianapolis. And at a time when the Halloween Festival, the oldest Halloween festival in the country, is going on. So it's perfect.
Mm-hmm. So how many people do you come through and do the ghost tour on average?
Well, it depends. We do them every Friday and Saturday night in October at 7 o'clock, and we've done it forever. People just show up in front of the Irving Theater, and we will take at least 1,000, 1,500 people through there in the month of October. So it's a happening. We've had a bunch of people on our tours, like the Woodstock of ghost tours.
Rich in history, but Irvington has another story, doesn't it?
It does. It has several, but there's one of the most popular ones is the story of H.H. Holmes.
So that's where he committed one of his last murders. So tell us about H.H. Holmes.
Well, Holmes, most people have come to know him over the past 20 years, but when we first started talking about him, nobody had ever heard of this guy. He was pretty much America's first serial killer, and he came through Irvington. They claim that he could have killed as many as 200 people. We'll never know.
Wow!
He admitted to killing 27, and his the first murder in Irvington he committed, and one of his last murders he committed right there in a little house that still stands in Irvington to this day.
Okay, now where he committed his first or last murder, is that on the tour?
It is. It is. You'll walk the path that he walked. He was all over Irvington for a few days in October of 1894. And the house where he killed a young boy, a 10-year-old boy, sadly, in Irvington, is a stop on the tour. And the fun thing about that, I suppose, fun or interesting thing, is that house. You can spend the night in that house. It's on Airbnb. The owners are very good friends of ours and have been for years. In fact, I'll be seeing them this afternoon just to check up. But you can check it out on Airbnb at Historic Irvington Home, and you can come spend the night in that house.
Okay, not me. No, thank you. I would pass. But why do you think Al Hunter is joining us? He does ghost tours in Irvington, him and his wife, Rhonda. Why do you think people are interested in staying at an Airbnb where people were murdered?
Well, I think it's just the thrill of being in the place and imagining what happened, walking the same floors, living, as it were, for temporarily in a place where something bad happened in October. I mean, Irvington is known for the Halloween festival, and it has a vibe. The houses are all decorated, and it's a perfect place in October to come through. But the rest of the year, you'd be surprised. Business people just stay there temporarily, and they have no idea what happened in that house. So
okay, so there's people that go that don't know that this is part of the ghost tour. Evil things happen there.
Exactly, because we only do them in October. So we're not going to show up in April and scare you.
How did you and your wife get involved in something like this? Have you always been interested in this?
Well, the history is the easy answer. I'm an ex-high school teacher, ex-high school baseball coach, and I learned a long time ago if I want to get kids interested in history, I'd tell them a ghost story. And if I told them a ghost story, they had the lesson and they wanted to come back and learn more. So, and there is no place in Indianapolis, maybe even in the Midwest, where the haunted history comes through like Irvington. I mean, we have stories on this tour about John Dillinger and Butler College and Abraham Lincoln, and it's a history-rich area. And it's when you're walking through this community, which is only 6 miles from Monument Circle, you don't realize all this stuff happened in the on the streets and in the community you're walking through.
Tell me about Dillinger. He was practicing his gun skills there, huh?
Well, he wasn't necessarily practicing it. He was practicing his robbery skills. He came through and robbed believe it or not, it's the Lincoln Pancake House now. But back when Dillinger was around, it was a drugstore and a soda fountain. And he came in with a trio of guys, and they robbed the place. And that's how he kind of got his start after they released him from prison. So that building is still there. It's the home to Butler College. People don't realize the same Butler Bulldogs that are on North Meridian Street, they began in Irvington. And so we go and visit the last remaining buildings from the college. And Lincoln came through there. People in a very special way, but I won't give that secret away. You have to come on the tour to see it.
Smart sales pitch. You got to come on this.
That's my favorite story. So, and it's history. It's history. It's history disguised as a ghost tour.
Al Hunter from the Weekly View is joining us. I want to go back to the H.H. Holmes story, America's first serial killer, because this is True Crime Tuesday. And you started off by saying that he potentially had killed over 200 people, but this was back in 1894 when this is going back a ways. So what was he ever found out? Was he ever convicted, or how did it end for him?
His story, he started out, his murders occurred around the 1893 Chicago World's Fair, south side of Chicago. 28 million people came to that fair, visited that fair. which is over half the entire population of the country at the time. Things that you use every day, electricity, Cracker Jack, Quaker Oats, Pabst Blue Ribbon, they were introduced at that fair, and he decided he was going to call off some of these people, have them come to his hotel at 63rd and Wallace and kill them there. And the shocking thing is he advertised for guests, he advertised for employees, and they showed up and they were never seen again. Why were they never seen again? He boiled them down to their skeletons, and he sold those skeletons to the University of Chicago Medical School for $75 a piece.
So the school had no idea that the skeletons they were using were of his victims.
No, and they needed them because if you're charging tuition and you've got medical students coming through there, you need those things for the students to work on. So they would take them, no questions asked.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's really gross. But in a way, I don't want to say he was smart, but that does take a little bit of ingenuity for him to have people come to him rather than him seek out his victims.
Well, you got to remember, he was smart. He graduated from the University of Michigan as a doctor. He got the degree, I believe it was 1887, and he headed to Chicago way before the World's Fair, basically planning this out from the late 1880s until 1893. By the time he came through Irvington, they had figured out the fair was over, and they'd figured out what he'd been up to. There was a small fire in his 3-story hotel, and the firemen went up there and they found body parts. And they said, uh-oh, and they started looking for him. He was on the run with 3 little kids, came through Indianapolis. And one of those little kids is the unfortunate victim of the crime in Irvington in October of 1894.
So had that fire not occurred, he may have kept on going.
He may have. I mean, the hotel itself was called the Murder Castle. Beautiful from the outside, deadly on the inside. He was the only one that had the blueprints. There were no blueprints for the place, and he was the only one that knew how it was laid out. Secret doors, secret compartments, chutes in the closets leading straight to the cellar. He knew the place like the back of his hand, but nobody else did.
So he knew how to get out quickly, too.
He did.
Yeah.
He absolutely did.
All right. Well, if you'd like more information from Al Hunter and about the ghost tours that you can take in Irvington, where can people find that information?
You can find it on the net under Irvington Ghost Tours, but the easiest thing to do is just come down to Irvington any Friday and Saturday night in October at 7 o'clock. You'll find us right in front of the Irving Theater. And what's more, you get to go run around Irvington and experience Halloween in Irvington, which is there's no other place in Indianapolis like it.
Well, we appreciate your time, and thank you very much for taking a moment to talk with us on True Crime Tuesday. That's Al Hunter from the Weekly View.
Yeah, come see us.
It is True Crime Tuesday with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The number of dead rising. It's cloudy and 68 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Flooding still wreaking havoc on North Carolina and other states after Hurricane Helene.
There are so many communities in peril right now that have not been able to get communication because of the lack of cell phone service and power outages. It's not just Asheville that has been decimated and people going through these issues. There are so many people that are still missing, hundreds unaccounted for because they cannot communicate. There are at least 128 people that have lost their lives across multiple states.
Fox's Robert Ray striking on the docks.
I'm not going to settle for nothing but the best.
International Longshoremen's Association President Harold Daggett. That's the union that represents dock workers all throughout the country, and where half of the country's shipping has been stopped at 36 ports along the East Coast. They want better wages and less automation of their jobs. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Is your pet a digging enthusiast, an escape artist, or a counter surfer? Invisible Fence brand has you covered. For the wannabe landscaper, we've got a solution to keep them active but not destructive. For the escape artist, our personalized pet fences keep them safe and sound at home. Counter surfer? No problem. We know how to keep cheese thieves at bay. Invisible Fence brand. Tailor-made solutions for your pet, your yard, and your needs. Visit invisiblefence.com today.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
Go now to bwindow.com and receive $400 off per window and $250 off any patio or entry door, plus 2.99% financing.
Cindy Carrasco has spent a career holding the powerful accountable. As Indiana's Inspector General and Director of the State Ethics Commission, Cindy fought waste, fraud, and abuse wherever she found it. Cindy also combated wrongdoing in state government, which meant standing up and doing the right thing even if it wasn't popular. Now, as our state senator, Cindy Carrasco continues to fight on behalf of all Hoosiers by improving the quality of our children's education, providing tax relief for everyone, and working to make our communities safe by getting law enforcement the resources they need to fight crime, violence, and keep fentanyl away from our families. It's why Cindy has been endorsed by the Indiana Fraternal Order of Police, State Police Alliance, and the Professional Firefighters of Indiana. Because they know that Cindy has their back, and we know she has ours. Vote for more government transparency, better schools, lower taxes, and safer streets. Vote Cindy Carrasco for State Senate.
Paid for by Cindy for Senate.
We know to contact Indiana 811 at least 2 working days before every dig. But did you know spraying a white line around your digging area means utility flags will be placed only in that area? Fewer flags in the yard? Easier mowing? Everybody wins.
Except for my kid.
I don't want to mow the yard.
Contact Indiana 811 and white line before every project. It's the only way to dig. Learn more at 811.safedigindiana.com.
Sponsored by the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission and aired by this station.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Research shows smoking costs Indiana businesses $3.1 billion every year. It also shows that an extra $2 per pack tax on cigarettes would drastically reduce smoking, which could save lives, create jobs, and infuse the state of Indiana with hundreds of millions of dollars annually. Read the reports from the Richard M. Fairbanks Foundation at thepriceofsmoking.org and see for yourself how an extra $2 per pack tax on cigarettes can have a positive impact on Hoosiers.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatment at 317-559-PAIN.
This is it, that portion of the program we turn over to you with your voicemails. 317-684-8444. That's the phone number if you'd like to get involved with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. And this very first voicemail, it's very short, but it's something that we need to clarify. And here we go.
Hey, Ron and Casey. Love the show.
Okay, so that's it. I just want to point out we have new listeners that come and go all the time. His name is Rob.
Yeah, that's right.
Rob Kendall.
With a B, not an N.
My name is Casey Daniels.
That's correct.
Many people call and they say, hey, Rob. Hi, Kendall.
Yeah.
No, you're Rob.
Rob Kendall.
Kendall.
That's right.
I'm Casey Daniels.
That's correct.
Okay, we got that clear?
Yeah. I think I'm going to institute a new rule.
Yeah.
If you can't say hi, Rob, hi, Casey.
Yeah.
Or you don't have to say anything at all, actually. But if you get the names wrong, we're not putting you on the air.
Okay. That sounds
This
good.
is not, I mean, I've been here 8 years.
Yeah.
I feel like at this point, I've sort of entrenched myself. And I mean, in the name of the show, it is Kendall and Casey.
Yeah.
So if you can get the guy who's been here for 8 years right, you should be able to get your name right because
Right.
it's actually in the name of the show.
Yeah.
So you got to say hi, Rob, hi, Casey, or nothing at all.
Right.
Hey, you two idiots, or whatever.
Yeah.
If you get the names wrong,
That
though,
works.
you're out.
Okay. Here's another phone call. Somebody wants to say something about Eric Holcomb.
Yeah, I'll keep it simple. I moved here from Illinois about 12 years ago, and Eric Holcomb is about one of the most slimiest, crooked politicians I think I've ever seen. He ranks right up there to some of the ones that went to prison in Illinois. So I'm hoping Braun will right the ship, because if he don't, us Hoosiers, I take myself to be a Hoosier now. I've lived here for 12 years, like I said. I'm hoping he rights the ship, because in 3 years, it's going to be a system you ain't going to get back from. I've witnessed it. It starts with the high taxes. It starts with the high gas prices. It starts with your roads not getting fixed, and they steal the money from you. I've witnessed it. I've lived it. I came here to get away from it, and it saddens me to let you know you all have a choice to make. Don't be like Illinois.
Well, that is why he has the nickname High Tax Holcomb. It's interesting that he came from Illinois, because later in the show, Anna is going to join us and we're going to talk about Freedom Fest. And she also left Illinois
Yeah.
for the exact same thing.
Yeah. Heed that man's warnings. I have nothing else to add. I think he said it perfectly. There's nothing left to say about Holcomb.
You know what? I did want to say one other thing about Holcomb. You know that movie or that documentary from Netflix came out, the Will and Harper, the thing with Will Ferrell. You remember Will Ferrell was here in town and everybody was losing their mind how random it was.
Oh,
they were
this is the one where he wants us to feel good about him because he has a friend who is a man who in his mind became a woman.
Correct.
Yeah.
And they were doing a cross-country trip. Well, they
Right.
stopped here in Indianapolis, and they were at a Pacers game, and they met Eric Holcomb, and Harper Steele said that we had an uncomfortable moment with the governor of Indiana, who is not very kind to trans people, but he needed to take a picture with Will Ferrell so bad that he dropped all of his principles.
So basically, like, Farrell's here doing some movie where we're supposed to feel good about him and sympathetic to his man friend who wants to be a woman, and Holcomb
wanted a picture with Will Ferrell.
Yeah, really bad. So he decided he was going to snap a foot. I mean,
at the Pacers game.
Look, Eric Holcomb is a piece of garbage. I mean, is there anything really that needs to be added to this? I mean, after 8 years of this, I mean, is there anything really? I mean, that guy said it perfectly. There's nothing to add to it.
Okay, so we had a big conversation about Pete Rose and his passing yesterday. We got a phone call about him.
Hey, Rob, I'm up way too late on Twitter watching football and stuff, and I keep seeing your Pete Rose thing, and I just don't understand why you're doubling down and getting so dug in about Pete Rose. I mean, I'm no Pete Rose fan. I mean, I do appreciate him and the way he played baseball and the passion that he brought to the sport and everything else. Do I think he was an arrogant a-hole? Yeah. Have you ever seen the show A-Holes a Theory? Most people that excel and get to the top are a-holes, and they're self-absorbed, and they're, whatever you want to say. But, I mean, I've said this, I think, on some voicemails in the past about Trump. Yeah, Trump's like that, too. But he's a billion. He's Trump. And Rose is Pete Rose. And you're Rob Kendall. I mean, dude, if you listen to yourself on the radio, I mean, you're bringing down governors and holding people accountable. And, Bob, Hogsett's listening to you every day. I mean, you're a legend in your own mind.
Oh, boy. Okay, so the point of his phone call was that you need to take it easy on Pete Rose. And that is something that some people are expressing, that in his time of passing, maybe it's inappropriate to talk bad about the guy. I don't think you're talking bad about him so much as you're being honest.
Well, he's not your Uncle Harold. He is a mega celebrity, and his celebrity is based on him playing baseball and the way he disgraced the game of baseball, and then his actions after that are a part of his baseball career. It's no different than when John McCain died. I said John McCain absolutely deserves a huge thank you for this from this country for his actions in Vietnam and his heroic behavior. He was a complete slimeball as a politician, should have gone to federal prison as a part of the Keating Five. I'm not going to lie to you and act like John McCain was a good United States senator. I'm not going to act like he did a lot of great things, but both of these things can both be true. Mm-hmm. Pete Rose could be a great baseball player who created countless memories for many, many people, and you can have that bucket of his existence.
Yep.
And then there's this bucket of his existence over here where he was a liar, he was a cheater, he belittled and steamrolled and tried to take down people who held him to account. The man ended up in federal prison, Casey.
Yeah.
This is not tiddlywinks that we're talking about here. This was a bad dude who cut a lot of corners, who screwed a lot of people, and it's a part of his story. And I'm amazed that people are so insecure that they can't deal with it. It's a bigger conversation. And then we'll get off this. The bigger conversation is, this is why our country's in the shape it's in, because people tribalize themselves with every single topic now. Musicians, actors, baseball players, and most importantly, politicians.
Most importantly, politicians.
And no matter what you point out about these people just don't want to hear it, right? This guy or girl's on my side. They're on my team. Pete Rose was of course he was a great baseball player. He was also a complete dirtball who did a lot of damage to a lot of people related to actions he took in the game of baseball.
Hammer met Pete Rose, and Hammer is going to join us next on 93 WIBC. Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
The victims of Hurricane Helene need our help. Go to salarmy.us/Indiana EDS. That's salarmy.us/Indiana EDS. From the Salvation Army and WIBC.
Jennifer McCormick backed Hillary Clinton for president. And when McCormick was in charge of education in Indiana, our schools ranked at the bottom. She even opposed school choice. Then McCormick backed Joe Biden for president and supported his $1 trillion spending scheme that caused all the inflation. Now she runs for governor on a plan that would increase your energy bills, create a new office of environmental justice, and ban gas stoves. Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal.
This is Mike Braun. Here's my plan for Indiana. I'll enforce immigration laws even when the federal government fails to act, keeping our streets safe and secure. And my plan lowers more costs. I'll cut property taxes, reduce energy bills, and expand parental choice and school voucher programs. Indiana needs strong leadership. We can get it done.
Mike Braun, governor. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Mecum Auctions returns to Indianapolis October 3rd to the 5th at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Join us for the fun, fast-paced, high-energy Mecum experience with 1,000 vehicles up for auction. For avid collectors, first-time buyers, and enthusiasts of all ages, Mecum Auctions is for you. Register to bid and buy spectator tickets now at Mecum.com. That's Mecum.com.
This November, Indianapolis will play host to one of the most prestigious culinary competitions in the world, the World Food Championships. From November 8th through the 12th, the city will welcome over 300 cooking teams, battling in 12 unique food categories.
All of this is going down at the Indiana Farm Bureau Fall Creek Pavilion. It's inside the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Food samples, cooking demonstrations, celebrity chef appearances, family fun zone, and more. To learn more or buy tickets, visit worldfoodchampionships.com.
Football season is here. Do you have your picks in on Sleeper? Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and you could win up to 100 times your money. For new users, Sleeper will even match your first deposit with up to $100 credit to your account. Just download the Sleeper app today and use code MONDAY for a credit up to $100 match on your first deposit. That's code MONDAY. Must be 18 years in most states and in state where it is legal. Promo code and other restrictions apply. Visit Sleeper.com. Please wager responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-426-2537 for help. Sponsored by Sleeper, a Blitz product.
It's Hammer and Nigel from Window Nation. It's getting cold. Your heating bills are on the rise, and your house is old old damaged windows are letting all that heat and all your money go right out the window. Good thing there's Window Nation. Right now, buy 2 windows and get 2 free. Plus, pay nothing for 24 months. You'll love your windows.
You're going to love your windows like I love my Window Nation windows, but you got to hustle. This sale ends October 31st, so schedule a fast in-home estimate right now. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com.
Community Health Network cares for your heart health. From heart scans and vascular screenings to complex heart procedures, you can count on our expert team for the highest quality cardiovascular care, when and where you need it. Your path to a healthy heart starts with knowing your risk. Schedule a heart scan or vascular screening today. Visit ecommunity.com/heart. Community Health Network. Exceptional care. Simply delivered.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Shop Macy's VIP sale going on now. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off the latest fall trends from designers that rarely go on sale. And save 15% off skincare, makeup, fragrances, and more. Plus, shop fall specials for even more great deals on top brands at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Head to the WIBC contest page and enter for your chance to win 2 tickets to see Trans-Siberian Orchestra's brand new show on Thursday, December 19th at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. And while supplies last, you can purchase tickets for just $49.99 plus fees.
There he is from the #1 rated Hammer and Nigel program, Jason Hammer in the studio. Good morning.
I will not sit here and listen to the Pete Rose bullcrap coming out of Rob Kendall's mouth. Was Pete Rose perfect? No. Was he kind of an a-hole? Absolutely. But you look at some of the people that they've elected in the hall, there's a lot of cheaters and a-holes in there. You're going to tell me that, and we're talking about the non-performance enhancing drug division here, right? No steroid users. Nobody cheated more than Gaylord Perry. Dude was like famous for doctoring the baseball. When you say the name Gaylord Perry, that's the first thing you think of in the Hall of Fame. Orlando Cepeda spent 10 years in jail for smuggling drugs in Puerto Rico. Got in the Hall of Fame. Cap Anson, wildly racist, refused to take the field if black players were out there. First ballot, first class Hall of Fame. So, again, if we're talking non-performance enhancing drug division here, if you're going to let those dudes in, my God, you got to let Pete in. And I would think that Rob would be able to sympathize, because the way you're not being allowed to get into the Brownsburg Hall of Fame is very much like what's happening with Pete Rose right now.
Yeah, you beat one referendum and they ban you for life from the Hall of Fame, right? Look, my thing with the guy was, you read that Dowd report, and it's 225 pages of not only what he did, but what a complete you-know-what he was in the process, and deceptive. And then you're caught dead to rights, and instead of saying, okay, I have a serious gambling addiction, I'm going to take my pittance, I hope I can, be a positive influence on society, and maybe someday I'll win my way back into good graces. He spent 20 years demeaning and belittling and bullying and steamrolling any person like poor Jim Gray, who dared to hold him to account. The only time he ever told the truth was when there was a giant pot of money in it for him.
Total a-hole. And again, not saying that that's not, but, being a good guy, I don't think is super
part
important.
of the prerequisite.
Like Ty Cobb was a rotten bastard, and that's whose record he broke.
But it's as old as man itself. I mean, in the Bible, what did God tell Adam and Eve? You cannot eat from the fruit of that tree. And they did. Then baseball, it's like on the radio. I can be a complete a-hole on the radio every single day. I am. I can't drop F-bombs. I know the rule to get fired. I know the rule to get suspended. I'm not saying it makes one person better than the other. He knew the rules, though, and he had such a compulsion to gamble that he still did it anyway.
But I'm asking you, what do you think is a more egregious offense? Drug trafficking, where you go spend time in the hole, or gambling on your team to win?
Well, who'd I bet on?
No, like Pete Rose, betting on the Reds to win.
Well, but that's the point, right? It's not the Hall of Morality. But for reasons.
It's the Baseball Hall of Fame. Let's look at his baseball record.
But again, there's a reason the Baseball Hall of Fame, separate of Major League Baseball, has upheld the ban, because his actions once he was caught, it's not even just the stuff he did. I mean, he tried to take out Dowd and Giamatti and all of those guys.
But look at these people who picked the Baseball Hall of Fame. And even you have to agree, they're the biggest group of zeros that exist. Like, these are the people that will intentionally not give a guy like Nolan Ryan a vote just because of some petty reason. But also, you let in Harold Baines. When you start letting in people like Harold Baines and you keep the all-time hit leader out, that's a problem to me.
Well, you and I agree that but look, baseball in general has been, and this is why I think Rose will get in, because history means nothing to these people anymore. Perspective on history means nothing to most of these people anymore.
Curt Schilling should be in.
Absolutely, but it is no longer the Hall of Fame. It's the Hall of Very Good. You're right. Tim Raines and Baines and Jim Rice, and there's a ton of Jack Morris and
good
Bylevin.
Players, but not.
It's not the Hall of Very Good. My point on this is that you are sending the reaction from people. From some of these people I've seen on Twitter and on the YouTube channel, there's no even admission, yeah, man, that's pretty heinous what the guy did. It's like the memory of his baseball is so strong to them that you can't even admit this guy scarred and stained the game and did horrific things to the point it ended up putting him in federal prison. And these people, yeah, but he was a part of the Big Red Machine.
When you say scarred the game, he bet on his team to win. Again, I think what Gaylord Perry was doing was way worse, and he's in.
There's a lot of people who believe he bet on his team to lose, and it was never proven. I mean, I challenge anybody to read all 225 pages of Dowd report and tell me you don't think that guy probably bet on his team. I'm not saying he threw the game. I'm saying there were probably times he thought we're going down to the Mets today and might have thrown 7. Speaking of going down, boy, did we have a weekend.
You went 5-0 in the NFL on the Degenerates Next Door podcast. 5-0. And what sucks, Casey, is I was feeling really good about myself on Saturday because I went 4-1 in college football. I'm walking around thinking I'm going to be the big winner this week. And Rob comes up, runs the table in the NFL,
you
goes 5-0. You
picked the Lions correctly?
3.5, baby. Minus 3.5. You have never lived, Casey, until you are fighting sleep at a game you don't care about, but you got pride on the line because of your sports betting podcast.
It's fun because I'll get a text from Rob like fourth quarter of a meaningless game. Got to get a stop. New podcast, College Football, comes out today at around 1 o'clock. Download it wherever you get podcasts, The Degenerates Next Door.
What do you have coming up today?
Man, we're going to give a little debate preview.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the Las Vegas shooting anniversary. As you guys know, I've got a lot of questions about that, and we're going to have a lot of fun.
Thanks, Hammer. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
$16,500, Casey.
Yeah, what about it?
$16,500, Casey.
It's a lot of money.
That's how much money it could cost the average American couple every single year if the Social Security Trust Fund runs out of money.
Multiply that by 10 or 20 years, and it's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That's why it's critical you have the right strategy to file for Social Security.
Discover how you could wring every nickel out of your benefits with a free customized Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy.
We know Bill, and we trust Bill, and you can too.
If you've saved more than $200,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 317-932-9912. This free analysis could help you wring every nickel out of your benefits that are rightfully yours.
Call 317-932-9912, 317-932-9912. That's Bill Demery, 317-932-9912.
It's Terry Stacy, a customer of Premier Deck Coating, and they've changed our life when it comes to saving us time and money, preparing and protecting our deck year after year. Premier Deck Coating is the ultimate deck protection, sister company of Rhino Shield, locally owned. Right now, we've got black walnuts that fall from the trees that normally used to stain the deck, but no more now that we have Premier Deck Coating. It has completely transformed our deck with their special formulated product, and it's backed by a 10-year warranty. They came in, they sanded all the walking surfaces, they repaired the damaged boards, and then they applied their Protect Deck and Railing coating, and that repels mold and moisture, and it resists scratches, and it keeps our deck looking great for years to come. They can also do fences and pergolas, too. And listen to this. Right now, they're able to offer affordable monthly payments with 0% interest loans and no payments until next year to qualified customers. Premier Deck Coating, the ultimate deck protection. We love what they were able to do for us. For a free quote, visit premierdeckcoating.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-9369, 800-525-9369, 800-525-9369.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Go now to bwindow.com and receive $400 off per window and $250 off any patio or entry door, plus 2.99% financing.
Coming up in 2 minutes, Hoosiers are chipping in to help out east. Plus, Ryan Hedrick reports on what led to the death of a woman in Beech Grove and when the Colts may expect AR-5 back on the practice field. That and more coming up from the Technology Recycler Studios after Fox News Radio at the top of the hour. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
Iran may be about to attack Israel. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. A ballistic missile launch appears to be imminent. That's what a White House official tells Fox. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken says the U.S. is committed to Israel's defense.
This is a moment of enormous volatility in the Middle East. It's more important than ever that we enhance our efforts to strengthen security and stability.
This comes just days after the leader of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, was killed in an Israeli strike in the Lebanese capital of Beirut. Remember, Nasrallah was the leader of Iran's largest proxy across the Middle East. And overnight, Israeli forces entering into southern Lebanon on the ground.
Fox's Trey Yanks reports from Haifa, Israel. It's a limited ground invasion targeting Hezbollah. They've warned residents to evacuate. It's another day without power, or for some, water, or cell service. For a lot of Americans recovering from Hurricane Helene from Florida to Tennessee to North Carolina.
It's just destroyed bridges that it's going to take years to build this back.
Zach Dasher lives in Swannanoa, east of Asheville.
Not only are the buildings gone on one side of the road, the ground that the building sat on is no longer there.
Most roadways in that part of the state remain closed. Supplies are arriving by air, and some volunteers are riding mules to deliver food and water to hard-to-reach mountainside villages.
As Fox's Evan Brown, the storm's blamed for at least 128 deaths, hundreds more still unaccounted for. There's a strike at ports from Maine to Texas. About 50,000 dock workers staged a walkout after midnight.
You know how many people depend on our jobs? Half the world. And it's time for them and time for Washington to put so much pressure on them to take care of us, because we took care of them.
Longshoreman Union President Harold Daggett with picketing workers in Newark, New Jersey. No automation, a key demand in their contract dispute. On Wall Street, a sell-off. The Dow's down 235 points. The Nasdaq's dropping 317. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Sending help to the Carolinas. It's cloudy and 69 on Monument Circle. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. The Indiana National Guard will be assisting with Hurricane Helene search and rescue efforts. Governor Holcomb ordering soldiers to North Carolina to assist with local, state, and federal recovery efforts. They're expected to be in North Carolina for about 2 weeks. A group from Indiana is also stepping in to send essential supplies.
The people that are affected in North Carolina and others, need our help.
They're stranded, a lot of them where they are. They can't get the supplies that they need on their own.
Aaron Huff, director of the Indiana Civilian Crisis Response Team, telling Wish TV that they'll be collecting baby formula, canned pet food, ready-to-eat food, and a lot more. A drug deal on Sunday led to the murder of an 18-year-old woman. Ryan Hedrick reports.
Beech Grove police say there are many moving parts in this case. One of Michaela Bowman's relatives led the cops to a 15-year-old kid who they say was involved in the killing.
He identified a suspect that he knew. There's a lot of juveniles involved here. That led to a search for this individual that took us outside of Beech Grove. That juvenile was identified and taken into custody.
Deputy Police Chief Tom Hurley says the boy was arrested during a raid on a home at 34th and Emerson on Monday night. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
They can sue them after all. The state's appeals court says Indiana can, in fact, sue TikTok, accusing them of deceptive business practices in violation of state law. A judge in Allen County originally said the state couldn't sue due to a lack of jurisdiction, but the appeals court said they had little trouble saying otherwise. The Indianapolis Colts getting ready for another divisional matchup against the winless Jaguars on Sunday.
Records don't matter in this league, early on especially. It don't matter if you're 0-4 or 4-0. You got to show up and play. This is a good football team. They got a lot of talent over there.
Head coach Shane Steichen not ruling out Anthony Richardson practicing as soon as Wednesday with his injured hip. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
It's common knowledge that after age 30, our metabolism changes. We have less energy and gain weight easier. There's a way to feel better, not in years or months, but sometimes in just days.
I'm Chuck Norris. I tried everything. Working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick. Morning Kick is a revolutionary new formula that combines all my favorite supplements into one daily drink.
Morning Kick has probiotics to help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and powerful anti-aging supplements. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, and helps manage stress.
I look and feel better than I have in years.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com, use code EASY, or text EASY to 511-511 and claim 40% off. Roundhouseprovisions.com, code EASY.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee. You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text EASY to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. Today is Tuesday, October 1st. We have 35 days until the presidential election and all the other elections. It's 5 minutes after 11 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So tonight, it is the vice presidential candidate debate. You've got J.D. Vance of Ohio going up against Minnesota's Governor Tim Walz. Both kind of new to the national political spotlight. They'll face off. My question: will J.D. Vance's weirdness be on full display?
Okay. So
we were told he's weird.
Well, before we get to that, we're going to run the debate tonight here on WIBC. So 9 o'clock, I think, is when it begins. And so if you can't be near a television to view the debate, you can listen to it right here on WIBC. Matt Hiblin and I were talking about this. Our boss, Matt Hiblin, and I were talking about this in the back earlier. Does this debate, is it even possible to move anyone? Like, let's say one guy either way hits it out of the park. Does it move anybody off their candidate? You're like, well, I was kind of up in the air, but now, man, Vance was super impressive. I'm with Trump. Like, what? How do you gauge?
Are there undecideds left at this point?
Well, this is my question, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you? It's so late in the process in the sense of we're to October. Early voting is starting literally in a couple days in many of these states. How do you define victory? Because I think Kamala Harris won in terms of how we traditionally judge debates against Trump. Didn't move anybody. In fact, it might have actually hurt her. I mean, so like, what do we?
Yeah.
How are we judging this? What are we looking for? Because I mean, I guess I'll have to watch this, won't I?
Well, I think yes, you will. I think there are people out there who really don't like either candidate, the top choice, Harris or Trump. And the vice presidential debate kind of feels like it's just a sideshow. But this time, it should be looked at a little bit more critically, because when you think about it, look what we had with Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris was his number 2. These people, they're auditioning for the top job, right? This is supposed to signify what the future of their party is. And it's potentially a preview of the next presidency.
Yeah, you'll get an idea, I think, of who's where in the look, because both of these teams do their own internal polling, right? And sometimes some people will get a glimpse at them or whatever. The only way generally to see what's actually going on is how people behave in these sort of debates, like who's on the offense, how are they going on offense, who's on the defense, how are they defending themselves. I think you'll maybe get a little bit of an idea to that, but look, J.D. Vance the expectation is, I think amongst most reasonable and fair people, that J.D. Vance is going to de-pants Tim Walz tonight, because J.D. Vance is a very skilled communicator, and he is obviously a United States senator, so he clearly knows how to communicate. He knows what he's doing. And Walz is a complete erratic nut job, right? I mean, so we'll see what happens. Sometimes it's bad to have expectations, the game of expectations on your side. But I guess I got to listen to this, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
I think it'll be really interesting when you compare the two, because consider J.D. Vance. He was kicked out of Permane Brothers, and he called him a great business. Tim Walz was booed at the Michigan football game, and he gave the fans the finger.
My wife and I were talking about this last night, and we were talking about how there's a clear trend amongst Gen Z men towards Trump. And that is a huge switch from where we've been at in society for a long time, which is young people almost always go overwhelmingly for Democrats. And she made an interesting point about this. She said maybe the hope that comes out of, I'm paraphrasing here, but maybe the hope that comes out of all of this is that what is Gen Z? What age, do we know what age, like what year you were born?
I think it starts in
2000,
like 97.
Okay.
97, is that, are we sure?
Yeah.
Is that right? Are you just guessing?
No, I know that because I was born in 95, and I was like the cutoff for millennials.
So my wife is of that generation. So she said, for my generation, which would be accurate, maybe the hope is then that men can start acting like men again, and it will inspire women to start acting like women again. And maybe this creates a reset of our society by which we get people back to some level of normalcy and traditional societal roles that have, sustained us, not only as a country, but as a humanity since the dawn of time. And so I thought that was pretty... She makes a good point every now and then, and so that was a good one she made last night.
Gen Z, 1997 to 2012.
Okay, so that's her.
So here's something. I'm wondering what the questions are going to be. J.D. Vance went to Ohio after the train derailment. I don't think Tim Walz even, where was he?
Could he find Ohio? If you were like, can you point to Ohio on a map?
He was putting feminine products in, the men's bathrooms in Minnesota at that time. Are they going to ask about what James Comer just announced, how the House Oversight Committee is subpoenaing Mayorkas about information relating to Tim Walz, how he's got these connections to the Chinese government? Are they going to ask about that?
No, they're going to look. It's going to probably be maybe not with the fact checking, because that didn't go over real well, and CBS only has like 9 viewers left, so they can't lose them like Muir did. But I think it's going to be slanted towards things that are going to be better for the Democrats. I'm sure they'll get into all sorts of abortion discussion. You would guess they would have to. By the way, I'm a little concerned for you, because you're supposed to be preparing to moderate this big debate between me and Rainwater tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then now I guess you're going to be watching this vice presidential debate. Will you be ready to go
tomorrow?
Because we're not screwing around here tomorrow. So
that's funny that you're saying that to me.
Yeah.
I was watching ABC this morning while I was getting ready for work, and George Stephanopoulos, he was saying something about, this election, we're going to get into all the things that matter, like abortion.
Yeah.
Immigration and the economy. They just keep putting that out there first. Do you think that they'll talk about the longshoremen strike? that's happening right now.
Well, real quick, I want to come back to that because the Emerson poll that came out here in Indiana showed abortion way down the list, right? It was in the single digits. Abdul's poll showed the same thing. And this is what this election is going to come down to. If there is a slew, and by slew, I mean in every swing state in this country, of suburban women who are more concerned about getting abortions who aren't having abortions than the price of food, then Kamala Harris will win. That's her shot. Like, that's what they banked it all on. If there are more suburban women in this country that are concerned about abortion, that aren't having abortions, than the price of food, then Kamala Harris will win. If people are sick of the crap in this country and realize, I'm not having an abortion, so why would I make that the signature issue that I'm going to vote on, which is common sense, then Trump will win. I guess we're really going to see how, not even pro-life a culture we are, but how much lust there is for murdering unborn babies, right?
Yeah. Donald Trump was asked about J.D. Vance and how he's going to do in the debate, and this was his response.
I think J.D. is going to do great. He's a very smart guy. He's done a great job. People like him a lot. He's against Tampon Tim, I think, who I don't think should have ever been chosen. He's not qualified. But J.D.'s a very smart guy, as everybody knows. I think he's going to do great.
Okay, so obviously Donald Trump has a lot of confidence in J.D. Vance. Kamala Harris almost seemed like she was admitting to making a mistake to picking Tim Walz when she did that NBA smoke podcast, whatever it was called, when she said that she had a lack of sleep and she was suffering from insomnia the night before she selected him as her vice president.
Everybody's got that one friend. Some people have more than one friend, but that one friend that you can't even remember really why they're your friend. They've just always kind of been your friend, but they're the last person that you would ever... Kev's laughing because he clearly has someone in his life that resembles this and he knows where I'm going. It's like the last person you would ever call if you needed something because they're the least dependable person in the world. That is who Tim Walz is in the orbit of Kamala Harris, which is she's not really sure why she picked him. There's no real logical reason. He hasn't given her anything. And yet now she's
because
totally...
Because he tolerated her laughing?
Well, I mean, she's totally dependent upon... They picked him. They picked it for two reasons. One,
it wasn't Shapiro.
Well, the Democrat base is a bunch of anti-Semites, and they were not going to pick a Jewish guy. And two, they became obsessed with this because Trump has done a good job, like we just talked about, with this masculinity thing, and especially with young voters. And they thought, well, we'll pick this guy. He was a football coach somewhere, and he'll really know how to talk to the young people. And that has not worked out. By the way, in our WIBC chat, which you can watch the show on YouTube, just put Kendall and Casey show in and the show will pop up and you can watch us. Our man, Wotus89, says, WIBC helped me decide to sign up to vote. I appreciate this radio station more than you all will ever know. So that's awesome.
Oh,
congratulations. Getting ready to vote, buddy. That's great. We love that.
You had mentioned masculinity, and the Democrats are trying to redefine it with Doug Emhoff and Tim Walz. And I'm going out of order here, but this woman, she's been all over the internet and going viral. And I think she makes a great point. So this is something that I have said on the air, and here she is saying it in her way.
I'm sorry. I am so tired of the tens of thousands of just hard fours online being like, I'm voting for her because he's going to strip all of our rights away as a woman. I can do that as a mom and a da. What rights, babe? What rights? He was already president, and how many rights did you lose? 0. He's trying to protect women's rights. What do you think it is when we have men in women's sports? We have men in our personal spaces. What do you think it is when dangerous men come over the border? That's what protecting women and children is. Oh, he already said he's not going to do a nationwide abortion ban. He's not going to do it. If anything, it's going to be state by state the way it has been. And guess what? If a state, 90% of people in a state want something, I think that state should have it, even if I don't agree with it. If you don't like it, move to another state. It's very simple. Stop with the propaganda. This is why people make fun of women. Use your brain. Use your brain, babe.
Kev, you pulled this audio, right?
Yeah.
Did you see this speaker in question?
I did, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I was going to make a comment, and then I observed the speaker in question. I'm just going to refrain from saying what I was going to say.
She's very pretty.
I don't notice people's appearances.
Of course
I'm
not.
just saying this could, Kev, this woman has future wife written all over her for you. And I think you should use every competitive advantage of being a beloved producer of a #1 rated radio show to find that woman and just tell her how you feel.
Yeah, just slide into her DMs.
I'm thinking you should tell her how that little speech right there moved you.
And I was inspired.
But she brings up a great
Is it horrible
point.
that I did that? I was like, I'm going to rip this woman. And then I was like, oh, maybe I was being a little harsh.
Oh, no. But she makes a good point when people sit there and say, I'm fighting for women's rights. No, you're not. You're fighting to end life. Women's rights would be equality on the sports field. And she brings up the point about Donald Trump wanting to close the border because all of these people are coming in that are not, they don't have good intentions.
Well, as you know, I've been having some fun with our some of our more passionate anonymous friends on the internet. Have you noticed how many of the abortion people are anonymous accounts and profile pictures?
Because they don't want to put their real name to it.
Right. And you know me, like I'll just engage with anyone. Somebody the other day was like, why do you engage with these people? For show content. Like, I mean, the fact that these people are contributing to my financial security is the best punishment I can give them. But one of the things I've really struggled with is how do you, because you can win an argument if everybody's working logically.
Well, that's the thing. You can't argue with crazy, right?
Right. So if you believe that doing this heinous thing is some sort of health care procedure, how am I going to unconvince you of that? And that's something I've actually really struggled with the past week or so is like, what would you even say to that? Can you even reach these people? Because the reality is that the culture war, the life war, is going to be won by convincing people that life matters. I mean, you can pass abortion laws, and Indiana has, and I think Indiana's done a pretty good job with it. But in terms of valuing life and promoting life and being accountable to life, that's going to have to be won on a person by person basis. And I don't know what those. I don't want to say anybody's ever unreachable, but man, I'm really struggling, Casey.
Well, she brings up a good point, especially when you consider the open border, how it costs $182 billion a year, and the numbers that came out from ICE: over 13,000 murderers, over 15,000 sexual assault, and all of these criminals that aren't being held right now. And I think about that, and I think about how, my daughter is living in a different city, and how within an 80-mile radius of where she lives, there are over 150 registered sexual offenders. And those are the ones that we know about.
Did you do the look?
Yeah, I looked it up. And so you have to consider, what about the ones we don't know about that are crossing the border every single day? Yeah. So when you talk about somebody wanting to protect women and protect women's rights, that's what Donald Trump is trying to do with talking about the immigration and closing the border.
What are we doing next? What are we doing?
You wanted to talk about that other blonde woman that was in your feed, right?
Who?
Pamela Anderson or something.
Oh, yes. I have a very interesting question to ask you. There was a video that came out about Pamela Anderson, and people are kind of going back and forth on it on the internet. And you, as the woman of the show, you are a woman.
Correct. Thank you for noticing.
I'm going to tee this up for you and be curious to see what your take on this is.
All right. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
You're not married, right? No. After a certain time being married, you realize that sleeping in separate beds, a genius idea.
Well, that's just not very romantic at all.
Oh, we're not talking about romance. We're talking about rest. And if you want something that's not romantic, be in a relationship where nobody's getting any rest. By the way, my wife and I do not have separate beds. She can't get enough of me.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Tire Discounters announces our latest breakthrough, TD Chat BS. This software allows us to detect untruths, deceptions, and even outright lies. Let's listen in as we call a local car dealer.
Hi, I drive your model of auto or truck. I need servicing.
Oh, that's great. You should always call the dealer for service to make sure your warranty stays intact.
Untruth.
Excuse me?
I can attend at Tire Discounters for all services,
No,
even
but-
for all manufacturers' scheduled maintenance. Warranty not affected.
But it's only us dealers who really know our own models.
Deception. Tire Discounters technicians are certified experts for all makes and models.
Okay, maybe.
How many dollars do you charge me for? As few as Tire Discounters?
We are not that much more.
Outright lie. Ending call now. Bye.
No, but-
Adios. Aloha. Hasta la pasta.
Right now, save up to $250 on Cooper tires, and shocks and struts are buy 3, get 1 free.
Go now to bwindow.com and receive $400 off per window and $250 off any patio or entry door, plus 2.99% financing.
Pamela Anderson continuing to embrace her makeup-free era. She was seen at a photo call for an upcoming movie, and she was not wearing any makeup. It did look like she had lipstick on in the thing that you showed me, though.
She did. So this was my question to you. By the way, this breaking news, American Picker star Frank Fritz has apparently been found dead at the age of 60. He's the little guy on the show, and that what a cool show that was, man. Horrible news, and it always seemed like such a lovable, likable guy. I haven't read a cause of death yet, but anyway, for anybody who's a fan of that show. So I saw this video of Pam Anderson. She's at some sort of event. She's
the San Sebastian Film Festival.
Okay,
she was
good.
in Spain.
Very good. Okay, and like you said, she's appears lipstick on, but no makeup. Her hair's up, kind of like looks like in a bun type of thing. She's wearing this very modest dress, and I caught myself and I felt horrible about this, because I'm looking at this going, oh no, what happened to Pam Anderson?
She's been doing this for a year now.
But then I think, okay, she's presenting herself, because what is Pam Anderson? She's got to be in her mid-50s by this point.
I think she's probably older than that.
Is she really? No way. What's your guess? Right now, I'll say 55. What are you saying?
I'm going to say 61.
Kev, what are you in on?
I already looked it up, actually.
Oh, then you're out. All right, so you're going with 61?
61.
I'll go with 55. The answer is 57. I win. Price is Right rules.
All right.
But the point is, I said, well, no, that's not right, because while in my mind, Pamela Anderson will always be the woman that I would slink away in the video store to the back section and try to catch a side boob shot on the back of the video box. Boy, you could just slink away from your parents. And where were you? Oh, I was looking at the Nightmare on Elm Street videos.
Proud. They're so proud.
You realize she's a middle-aged woman now. And if we're going to be super critical of complete lunatics like Madonna, who still try to act like they're 20 years old and have had all the
gyrating and done all the work to her face.
Then you can't be critical of Pamela Anderson, but yet in your mind you're like, oh my gosh, what happened to Pamela Anderson? And so help me help myself at this point, Casey.
Well, I think it's just a nice, refreshing take against Hollywood. You know, they're the airbrush society, an industry that thrives on perfection. And she's saying, no, I'm going to age naturally. I think it's very bold of her to put herself out there. I don't think I could ever do that, go makeup free and put it out there like she does. So I think it's kind of empowering. It's sending this message that she's confident in herself. She's accepted who she is, and she's not afraid to put herself out there, makeup free. Now, I know that she tries to live this very ultra healthy lifestyle now. So it might be somewhat of a kind of the anti-chemicals that are in makeup aspect as well.
Right.
But good for her. I mean, she's like, hey, this is me. This is who I am. And like you said, you can't have it both ways. On one hand, you can't say, oh, don't be putting all that Botox in your face and getting all that plastic surgery done. And then on the other side saying, how can you go in public without makeup on?
Right.
I think she looks beautiful. She's glowing. You can tell that previously she probably lived a much harder rock and roll lifestyle, and now she's making changes to be healthy.
Is Pamela Anderson the most famous hot woman who ever lived? Like, she was famous. She clearly had no talent as an actress. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, she's going to win several Academy Awards, for her work in Baywatch.
I think so, and I think she crosses generations too. For years, when I was young, my dad had the infamous Farrah Fawcett poster in the garage.
Oh, wow.
And when she got a little older and Pamela Anderson came on the scene, Farrah was replaced with Pamela Anderson.
Right. So she is famous, obviously, for being attractive. So is she, there obviously have been actresses, or someone like Taylor Swift is more famous, people who theoretically have some sort of talent. She is the most famous person in the history of the world. When you factor in Baywatch and the Tommy Lee video, and all of those things. For just simply being an attractive person.
Being pretty, yeah. And I think now she's trying to be authentic and being her true self.
So is she, in a weird way, she's letting 14-year-old me down then, right? By like, if you're famous for being something and then you just stop trying to, you've cashed the checks for being that thing, and then you're like, and now you're just going to make me like just.
Remember the past?
Right.
Is that letting you down? What are you more
gonna...
taken aback by? The fact that she's not wearing makeup, or the fact that her dress is very modest?
Well, I think it's just
very feminine.
And there's nothing wrong with it. I just, me, sometimes this is just cheaper than therapy, so I just will throw things out.
Work it out on the air live.
And let you just roll with it. Am I just being a horrible person because the Madonna stuff is wholly ridiculous, yet then when I see somebody who's gone the exact opposite of Madonna, I'm like, ooh, what happened to her? Am I just an unpleasable person?
That could be. There's no making you happy, right? I think, which would you rather have? Somebody like Pamela Anderson who says, you know what, she's still very fit.
Oh, yeah.
Probably more so than she used to be.
Right.
Yeah, she's eating good and taking care of herself. And just because she's not wearing makeup.
Right. Yeah.
There's no pleasing you.
Thank you.
That's what it boils down to. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Iran may attack Israel directly. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. That's according to the White House. The United States has indications that Iran is preparing to launch a ballistic missile at Israel. They added that they are actively supporting preparations to defend Israel against this attack. Tensions continuing to rise in the Middle East, increasing fears about an all-out regional war. Nearly every AES Indiana customer who lost power Friday night because of Helene has had their power fully restored, but there are some stragglers.
And at this time, we do anticipate that we will reach full restoration by this evening.
AES Indiana spokeswoman Claire Rice. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month that aims to promote the screening and prevention of the disease, which is the second leading cause of death in the U.S. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
I think one of the things that patients don't realize is that when they get a joint replacement, that's not a lifetime treatment option. And they're probably, if they are a younger patient, signing up for multiple surgeries down the road.
As a physician and medical director for QC Kinetics, Dr. Caravelli's seen a pattern of trending joint pain. Prolonged medication, steroids, then surgery, possibly another surgery.
So a lot of our patients are trying to avoid or put off surgery, and this is the treatment that can help them do that.
QC Kinetics extracts your body's healing substances, concentrates them back into your aching joints to help heal and restore those areas, providing lasting relief.
Oh, I love being able to tell my patients, before we do this surgery, let's try another option. Let's see if this is right for you, because now they might not have to have surgery at all.
Call today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. In Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and Carmel, 317-559-PAIN.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Life Church. We love Life Church. They've had such a great impact on my life, on my family's life. And at Life Church, they're warm, they're welcoming. They'd love the opportunity to meet and welcome you and your family. Over the years, many WIBC listeners have found a home at Life Church. It's Tuesday. That means Sunday's going to be here before you know it. If you're looking for a new church home or even a first church home, check out Life Church. They make it easy for you with campuses all across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton, plus awesome online services. Learn more about everything at lifechurchin.com.
Mecum Auctions returns to Indianapolis October 3rd to the 5th at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Join us for the fun, fast-paced, high-energy Mecum experience with 1,000 vehicles up for auction. For avid collectors, first-time buyers, and enthusiasts of all ages, Mecum Auctions is for you. Register to bid and buy spectator tickets now at mecum.com. That's mecum.com.
Truck drivers, are you tired of missing out on valuable time at home? At Midwest Logistics Systems, you can find a local dedicated job that gets you home every day. Plus, we offer predictable Monday through Friday schedules with occasional Saturdays. As an MLS driver, you'll haul 100% no-touch freight, earn performance and safety bonuses, and have access to full benefits. Don't wait. Upgrade your driving job today. Search jobs and apply now at MidwestLogisticsSystems.com. That's MidwestLogisticsSystems.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Is your pet a digging enthusiast, an escape artist, or a counter surfer? Invisible Fence brand has you covered. For the wannabe landscaper, we've got a solution to keep them active but not destructive. For the escape artist, our personalized pet fences keep them safe and sound at home. Counter surfer? No problem. We know how to keep cheese thieves at bay. Invisible Fence brand. Tailor-made solutions for your pet, your yard, and your needs. Visit invisiblefence.com today.
If you recently lost health coverage due to a life change, healthcare.gov is here for you. Like it was there for Marcus when he lost his job, and Keisha when she turned 26 and lost her parents' insurance, and Elena when she went off Medicaid. There are many other ways to qualify. Visit healthcare.gov today to see if you're eligible to enroll. Limited time to enroll. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
The financial advisor industry is a flawed system. Find out how to fight back and protect your retirement on Expedition Retirement. Sunday mornings at 7 on WIBC.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Boy, nothing gets the audience rolling in like a conversation about hot chicks.
Yeah? What do you got?
Well, so last segment I had asked you, because we had said that the video of Pam Anderson popped up, and she's looking very, sans makeup, and she's living a, earthy or organic lifestyle or whatever, and we kind of went back and forth about that, where, okay, on one hand, can you say Madonna's ridiculous? Well, then can you also go, boy, what happened to Pam Anderson? And I had posed the question to you, is she the most famous person for just being hot?
A hot chick?
Like that's her, she obviously was in TV shows, movies, whatever. She had no acting talent and no singing talent. I mean, she's not Taylor Swift, whatever. And the kind of people are starting to flood in with people who are famous for just being attractive.
Oh, you have a list?
Well, Kev had this one, and I actually saw this one on Twitter too. And this is a strong one, and it's Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, well, sure.
I mean, she was in movies, but she wasn't much of an actress, right? It wasn't like...
She has some good comedic timing.
She was just known for her looks, though.
Right. I mean, she's most, sleeping with the president and marrying Joe DiMaggio and
Correct.
whatever. And then the other one that Kev brought up was
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
But she actually built like a business
yeah,
empire.
I was going to say, I mean, she's got some
started off-
business acumen behind her. You don't become that rich.
Well, she launched it. I feel like the sex tape that she had in the early 2000s, like, kind of launched her career in a way, or at least it brought her to the spotlight.
Yeah, but that was a thing, but then she is now, I mean, I don't know. Am I misjudging Kim Kardashian that I think even though she plays the stupid hot chick, she's actually pretty smart.
Oh,
and
yeah.
kind of knows what she's doing.
She has done a lot more, I guess, business-wise. She made something
I mean,
out of
she
it.
knew, like, when she was married to Kanye, as soon as that stopped being productive for her, she cut bait and got out. Like, she knows. And she's not a train wreck. Like, if you look at all of her stuff, even though they present themselves as like, she's not personally, like...
She comes from a smart family.
Right. Well, her dad was a famous attorney, et cetera, and the mom was obviously a marketing mogul, et cetera. So, so where are we at? Okay, if we were hierarchying people, so are we wiping out Kardashian? Is she not included in this conversation then?
Well, if you're just basing it on looks, what's the criteria?
Well, I don't
here?
know, Casey. You're the woman here. I was trying to kick this over to you. Is Marilyn Monroe more famous than Pam Anderson for just being an attractive person?
Oh, that's a good question. I think, probably. She's got the staying power, clearly.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
think about how long she's been gone. Right.
Did you see, that big statue of her, I believe it was in Sarasota?
I have no idea what you're talking
I
about.
know what you're talking about. With the wind blowing the skirt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they took it down because it was offensive to people.
To who? It's one of the most iconic scenes in motion picture history.
Yeah, exactly. So, but to your point, she's not just known for being hot. There's an iconic scene from a movie.
Yeah, but there's iconic scene of Pam Anderson, the opening credits of Baywatch, running down the ocean.
That's
right?
true. There is that.
I mean, come on. All right. Anyway, I didn't mean to distract. I just people were rolling in on that. I thought that was kind of interesting.
They wanted to throw some names out there. Did you want to talk about what's going on with those longshoremen? 14 ports along the East Coast and Gulf of Mexico, all walking off the job.
Well, this is not good for the economy, obviously, because, by the way, think about all the things that are shipped in that you're like, really? Like medicine will be disrupted. Ooh, we're getting our medicine from overseas. Okay.
Yeah, that is scary to think about. I know that a lot of amoxicillin is made in China.
Yeah, I mean, so you hear that and you go, ooh, okay, well, maybe we have bigger problems than just the longshoremen.
Yeah.
It is a bad time if you're Harris, because so much of what they're trying to sell, I saw something from IndyStar yesterday, an opinion piece. I don't remember what the exact title was, but basically they were trying to say, we solved inflation and presented a recession. It was like, ooh, have you been to the store recently? Maybe we shop at different places. But the point is, they've tried to sell you on, and it's very similar to how Obama pulled it off in 2012, which was, things are, if you remember when Obama ran for re-election in 2012, his thing was, things aren't great yet, but you people would have been in soup lines if it weren't for me. And it worked. Romney was a bad candidate. They've tried to sell this as, inflation's still kind of bad, and things can be better, but look at the economy. It's gangbusters. It's rolling. You had two choices, and we had to open one of these doors. Well, if the economy gets disrupted and inflation is still bad, which it's still going to continue to be, then they don't have either leg to stand on. So we'll see how this disrupts the stock market, the economy. It ain't going to be good, though.
No, it's not. Stores like Walmart, IKEA, Home Depot, Lowe's, all some of the biggest importers, and they were asking for a 77% increase in salary. It was countered. They offered them 50% increase. I believe it's like over 6 years' time.
Yeah, sure, right.
And the union, they said, nope, not good enough. One of their other big concerns was robots and automation. Hello. Get with the times, guys. It's coming whether you want it or not.
Allow me to introduce you to the kiosk at McDonald's.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it could be scary. It'll be really interesting to see if Joe Biden steps in.
So the question is, if you have the ability, because let's face it, these people are given certain privileges and protections, et cetera, like various other industries. I'm not blaming them. But if you have the ability, based on privileges and protections, to disrupt large portions of the economy, should you be allowed to strike? Like, part of what they're doing is they're doing it because they know that they can disrupt the economy. If there's some guy that makes widgets somewhere, well, other than maybe some sympathy from your local community, you're not getting anything because Harold's a nice guy and, a couple extra bucks an hour might help him feed his family. These people know they can disrupt the economy, and that's like with the rail line strikers.
They're holding
and
the
stuff.
country hostage.
Basically, yes. And so the question is, should those people be allowed to do that? Because they have the ability with their actions to disrupt every single person who has nothing to do with the relationship between you and your employer.
So Jonathan Gold, who is the vice president of the National Retail Federation, said typically one-day shutdown of an individual port could mean anywhere from 3 to 5 days for recovery. But with more than a dozen ports involved, a 2-week shutdown could mean backup issues through the holidays or even next year.
Yeah, and it goes beyond, can I get the toy of the year for Christmas in time? It's really a bigger conversation about the essential things that you're talking about. Like, and again,
medicine's the scariest one to me.
Right. You're exactly right. And so that is, and look, I'm not saying I've got the right answer or all the answers to this. I'm saying I have a real concern when people know that they can disrupt the free flow of commerce in the country, that they have that much power over their ability to just simply not show up to work.
Well, and another thing you need to consider is what a horrible time for stores like Lowe's and Home Depot to be out of stock when you're talking about major reconstruction that needs to be happening in the Southeast.
That's a great
North
point.
Carolina, Tennessee.
Yeah.
All of those people, they're going to need that stuff from those stores.
That's
and if those shelves are empty, wow, that's just going to be a longer process. All right, before we go into break, we've got a guest coming up, Anna, who's going to be joining us. How do you pronounce her last name?
Shapa.
Anna Shapa, and we're going to be discussing Freedom Fest. But before we get into break, here's a new banger from AI Trump. It's number 7.
From the wackos on the left to the MAGAs on the right, they know I'm beating Kamala. This race won't even be tied. Her policies are nutso. She's out her goddamn mind. She just repeats the same thing, regurgitating her lines. She thinks that immigration without paperwork is good. Clearly not too much power underneath Kamala's hood. Borders are, it's what you are. Borders are. Cackling Kamala, you're dumb. Mass inflation imminent if she weasels herself in. If that don't sound like fun to you, then you better help me win. I promise I'll secure you.
The victims of Hurricane Helene need our help. Go to salarmy.us/IndianaEDS. That's salarmy.us/IndianaEDS. From the Salvation Army and WIBC.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-9369. 800-525-9369. 800-525-9369.
It's a bully that will not let up until you do something about it. And the worst part is that the bullying happens when you're at your most vulnerable. You might as well have your hands tied behind your back while that bully puts one hand over your mouth and pinches your nose with the other. He'll let up, let you catch your breath, and then he'll do it again. Sleep apnea is a bully. Not long ago, we heard our friend John tell you about how his bully was stopping his breathing in his sleep over 145 times an hour. Think about what that can do to your body's organs. It's no wonder that the snowball effects of long-term obstructive sleep apnea are heart disease, stroke, even depression and anxiety. But this problem is solvable, and we have solutions, and you'll be surprised at how simple they are.
To date, Advent has solved over 40,000 breathing triangle problems. It's time to put that bully in his place. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows. When you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
Rampant crime, crumbling roads, unaffordable housing, open borders, and high inflation. That's Andre Carson's record after 16 years in Congress. Have you had enough yet? It's time for John Schmitz, an Indy native who's working for safe streets, an end to inflation, and a bright future for Indy. John Schmitz has the experience, creativity, and energy to tackle the issues holding back Indianapolis. Help make Schmitz happen. Vote John Schmitz for Congress. Learn more at johnschmitzforcongress.com. I'm John Schmitz. I approve this message, paid for by Schmitz for Indiana.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Tune in to the Absolute Retirement Planning Show.
When retirement comes about, we're now relying on what we have saved to meet those needs.
Sundays at 9 a.m. right here on 93 WIBC.
Attention all Hoosiers, a historically important election is headed our way. The time to prepare for the election is now. Are you registered to vote? Do you have a plan to vote? The Indiana Secretary of State's office wants to remind you, registering to vote or updating your registration is fast, easy, and can be done online at indianavoters.com. You must be registered 30 days before Election Day, so get registered and get out to vote. This message is sponsored by the Indiana Secretary of State's office.
Never miss your favorite shows on WIBC. Get your content to go. Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, Tony Kennett, The Gun Guy, Home and Garden. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, a change was made uptown and the big man Joe in the bay.
It is the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Casey's here. Casey, did you know it's election season?
35 days until the election, actually.
And then
Not that we're counting down or anything.
Now, what was cool is in 2020, we got not only election season, but then we got like 3 months after election season.
Yeah.
We call that spiking the ratings.
Uh-huh.
So keep in mind, there are plenty of elections going on here in the state of Indiana. And one of the central hubs of Republicanism in the state of Indiana is Boone County.
Yes. Well, they've got a lot going on, you know.
And there's a big event coming up on Saturday. It's called Freedom Fest. Doesn't that just reek of liberty and, well, freedom at the Freedom Fest and patriotism?
And this is being put on by the Boone County Republican Women's Club.
You know, I've actually spoke to the Boone County Republican Women's Club.
They let you in?
They let me in, and they just let me roll. They were like free. They were serving drinks. They were having a good old. We were having a good old time.
Yeah, this is something that I should look into, the Boone County Republican Women's Club.
That'd be perfect.
I'm a woman.
You can just go there and denounce me the whole time.
That's entertaining.
So here to talk about Freedom Fest, my old friend, she is actually a transplant from Illinois. She left the land of communism and fled to the land of opportunity, which is quickly becoming the land of communism.
Right.
But
and
at least
she's
for
hoping
now,
to make some change here as well.
Anna Shapa is our guest. Anna, hello.
Good morning, Rob. I prefer the term refugee to transplant.
So tell us about Freedom Fest. What's going on with Freedom Fest, and what are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're super excited. So this Saturday, October 5th at 4:30, we're going to be at Lions Park in Zionsville. So it's the best park in town. We are going to be having this event. So it's our second annual one.
What are we doing?
We're having fun. So
You are fun.
I moved here / transplanted 3 years ago and tried to look for ways to get involved locally. I realized that the most opportunity we have to make an impact is at local levels.
Yeah.
So I found the Women's Club, and they too accepted me.
Yeah.
Open arms with drinks.
Because you're
said,
even more crazy than I am.
You know, this is what we say is recorded. So I'll just nod and smile.
Yeah. Anna's even more nuts. Anna's even more nuts than me. Yeah, that's why we get along so well. So yeah. So what are we doing at the event?
So this is a family-friendly event. We want you to bring your families. We want, if it's just you that comes, we're gonna have Backroads Barbecue there. They're gonna be serving brisket and pulled pork.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a bounce house. It's free for kids. It's the red, white, and blue one because of course we had to get the patriotic one.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We're gonna have a craft table. We've got live music. We've got a cornhole tournament, and we're doing an award for the most patriotic dress. So a lot of political events you go to, they're kind of stuffy. It's the same people giving the same speeches every single time. We want this to be different. We want to grow our base. We want to bring in younger people. We want to bring in families. We want to bring in moms and people who want to get involved and roll their sleeves up, because just voting isn't enough. We have to get involved, and we have to save our country and take our counties back.
So Anna Shapa is our guest. She is talking about the Freedom Fest, which is going on Saturday, October the 5th, Lions Park in Zionsville. So you came here from Illinois.
Came here from Illinois.
And it seems like, and you and I have had this conversation before, we're doing a lot of towards Illinois type of things in this state, right? Like it seems like the government keeps getting bigger, the taxes keep getting bigger. Can you just please warn the people what could be in store for us if we don't get it together really quick?
Yeah, so I think everything's in store if we don't get it together quick because people will leave, right? Quality of life matters. The cost of expenses matter. Property taxes matter. Safety and crime matter. And I think that we've done a great job, but we need bold and courageous leaders who are going to keep making those decisions to keep it that place.
Do you guys have some speakers scheduled?
No, that's the fun part. So
you don't have to sit through a boring speech. Just go and have fun and be with like-minded people.
Exactly. It's just going to be a party. We've got live music. We've got food. We've got drinks. We've got games. We've got 35 days to save the country. Let's have fun and celebrate our freedom.
Yeah. So you've got the most patriotic dress as one of the things going on. You're going to give an award for that.
Yeah.
So
you should try to go win that, Casey.
I totally should get that red, white, and blue bikini.
Absolutely.
Nah, it's too cold for that. Let's see.
That's why you might win.
Yeah, right? Or scare everyone away. You can't unsee some things, Rob. But I'm sure you'll see lots of red hats.
Yes.
Red
hats.
And you're calling it an American celebration. And nobody will be wearing a mask there, I'm guessing.
No masks allowed. You have to identify as your correct gender.
Okay.
Hey, so the debate is tonight. You have your Anna Shop as our guest. She's with the Boone County Republican Women's Club. They got a big event coming up on Saturday, 4:30, Lions Park. It's the Freedom Fest. You got to go just based on the name alone. You're wearing your Trump Vance hat tonight. We're running the debate here on WIBC
9
tonight. Are you nervous for Vance?
Oh, I am excited. The popcorn's already ready.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, one final time before we let you go. By the way, tell us about your club, because the Boone County Republican Women are great. They gave me a free forum to just say whatever I wanted for an hour. It was awesome. I thought some people were going to keel over dead, but a lot of people were very excited when I told them what I thought of the state Republican Party. So what do you tell us about you?
I like to say it's not our traditional Republican Women's Club.
Yeah.
We stand for liberty. We stand for freedom. We support bold and courageous leaders.
Yeah.
We put our money where our mouth is. We knock doors. We send texts. We hold fundraisers. We do things to support candidates that are actually supporting us and not just campaigning on it, but acting on it in the State House.
Hey, one thing we should mention, by the way, is that the Freedom Fest has free admission.
Oh, yeah, it's totally free.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, you went to Vegas for an anniversary of your 25th birthday.
25th, yeah, my 13th anniversary of my 25th birthday.
How is Vegas these days? Did you go to the Sphere?
I went to the Sphere last time I was there.
You go multiple times.
It was, honestly, it was kind of creepy. A lot of AI, and it was kind of cool to see, but it was also creepy.
All right. Saturday, 4:30, Lions Park, Zionsville. Anna Shapa, you're the best. Thank you.
Freedom Fest. Be there. Be square.
Nice. That's going to do it for us today. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Kevin. And thank you for listening. This has been Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
The only thing worse than hiring no law firm after your injury is hiring the wrong law firm. And there are so many of them. When thousands of people call us every year asking to help them change law firms and hire us instead, I wonder why they ever called the other firm in the first place. They were smart to switch before it was too late. You only get one day in court. You know who has the resources and results to fight to handle your claim. And the big insurance company on the other side, they know it too. They know us well. You have to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, and know when to walk away. Walk our way. When you're fighting to get what you deserve, it's go big or go home. We are big for a reason, which is why we've recovered over $9 billion for our clients. When it comes to law, size matters. We're America's largest injury law firm, Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
You don't have to keep living with that joint pain. Tony Katz here, and real lasting relief is possible with help from QC Kinetics. People are getting their lives back, getting their mobility back. Thanks to QC Kinetics, they're the nation's leader in cellular therapies that can revitalize your joints. Advanced regenerative medicine, people. So it's utilizing your body's own healing properties. They're highly concentrated. They're placed into your achy joints, the back pain, the shoulder pain, the knee pain, gone. These are cutting edge treatments. No surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. And a lot of you're not getting getting that problem taken care of because you're afraid of missing time at work. That's not the deal with QC Kinetics. These protocols developed by medical professionals and under the leadership of Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, a former orthopedic surgeon and a pioneer in clinical regenerative medicine. You owe it to yourself to learn more. Call QC Kinetics today for a free consultation. QC Kinetics in Eagle Creek, in Greenwood, and in Carmel. Call 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN. QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN.
Guys, if you notice a lack of energy and drive, it could be low testosterone. Get your levels checked at Low T Center. They have over a decade of experience helping patients with testosterone therapy, or TRT. For established patients, they offer the convenience of physician-monitored at-home TRT with advanced treatments that include lab testing and medication. It's an optimized personal treatment plan. Low T Center ships to your door. LowTCenter.com now to book your appointment. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
You okay?
Sorry, I can't sleep with this cough.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with NyQuil VapoCool. It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
So you ready to get some sleep? Thank you, NyQuil VapoCool.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
18 years ago, Tom and Sarah Joyner started Joyner Homes in Greenfield, and to date, they've built hundreds of homes across central Indiana. The homes they build are different than the cookie-cutter houses you see today. They build homes that have the character like the homes of yesterday, but have modern features, character-rich features, exposed wood beams, stone fireplaces, custom build-ins, and smart design. Building a new home doesn't have to be a headache. Joyner Homes will build you a truly unique, beautiful home. Visit JoynerHomes.com.
Here's great news, Indy. Rhino Shield has partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer no payments until 2026 for qualified buyers. Call Rhino Shield at 888-RHINO-41.
Go now to bwindow.com and receive $400 off per window and $250 off any patio or entry door, plus 2.99% financing.
Hi, I'm Arielle Winter. If you're anything like me, your pets are not only your best friends, they're part of your family. American Humane, which has been rescuing animals like Cleo here for more than 100 years, has life-saving tips that can make a big difference in a disaster. When disaster strikes, you want to protect